It's a lot of fake chiefs out here. We could talk about that. It's a lot of people who've been made queen mother. Man, all these imposters. Oh, I'm a queen mother here. I'm a chief here. I'm a. Oh, please don't talk about Lisa Ray, the queen mother of Ghana.
Okay, so one of the stories we talked about is, so now you went from first lady of the Turks and the Caicos, and now you're the queen of Ghana?
Queen mother of Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's really...
She's a joke. It's not even her fault. She just didn't get the proper education.
Right.
Oh, I'm a queen mother in this town. I'm a chief in this town. Nana, I wear my entoma. You know, I got my horse whisper. Oh, bless you. Sit your ass down. You ain't doing shit. Little old you. We don't even know if you gonna make it in Ghana. Who are you that we want to keep out? What have you done? I don't even know your name. I have nothing against you. So what would we do to keep you out? Some of y'all don't deserve it. Some of y'all need to be de-stooled. It's 2025, bro. This is one thing I'll tell you, and I want you to think about this. 2025 is the last year of the first quarter of this century. It was the transatlantic slave trade. If you ain't wipe us out then, you lost your chance. Now, Africans are coming home. We're becoming more conscious. We're seeing that there are other options outside of America. We're seeing that you can do things differently. Because now, beyond this, I mean, damn, in America, it's illegal to grow your own food in places. Think about, what the hell? Why would you make it illegal for me to grow my own food?
Did you know that according to the U.S. Supreme Court, it's actually illegal to grow your own food in the United States? Over 80 years ago, the court ruled in the case of Wickard versus Filburn that growing food for personal consumption is unlawful.
Over the next 25 years, I guarantee you, you're gonna see more black people returning to Africa than you ever have, because the world has lost their cotton picking mind. Telling me I can't grow my own food? I know that I've met some Ghanaians, some Nigerians, some Sierra Leoneans whose ancestors had to be the one that sold us, because these cats so greedy right now that traitorous, it's probably not even a word, the behavior that it requires for somebody to sell their own people into bondage is happening now. What's the difference between selling your people into bondage and selling the same piece of land 12 times? What's the big difference? Why were you born at this time? Why weren't you born in 1800, 1900, right? 1950, 1600? We're all spiritual beings having a human experience. We didn't get to decide when we would come into this earth. So we were all born at the time that we were born for specific reasons. Just like your ancestors were born at the time that they were born for specific reasons. Because if some of y'all was to replace your ancestors, your family line might not make it because a lot of y'all weak.
Interesting.
So some of you had to be born later. You couldn't have replaced your great-great-great-grandfather because you might not have made that journey. That was his cross to bear, so to speak, her cross to bear. It was for them to take that journey to get here so that you could bring your talents and skills and do what you needed to do during your time. You can't say you believe in God as much as you do and not accept that part of our history as also something that needed to happen. It sounds crazy to say, but I'm gonna say it. Without the transatlantic slave trade, you don't have the invention of the African American. You don't, as we know it and as we see it. So I've gotten to a point in my life where I realized it was a part of the journey for whatever reason.
You have to make peace with that.
You have to. It's also something that's very new for me. Not new, but my friends will tell you. It's stepping into who you are. The last time we did this interview, I don't think I had fully stepped into who I am. As
really?
Much as I have now.
What do you mean by that?
As a chief, as Nana, everybody serves you. So when I pull up, everybody's coming to the car to see if I have bags. When the food comes, it's brought to me. If I want to carry something to the trash, somebody runs and takes it from me. I had a problem with that before. Environment is extremely important. Black people need an environment for them. This is my opinion. This is not a fact. I've gotten so used to seeing village auntie breasts just out. You understand what I'm saying? Can I say? Okay. I've gotten so used to seeing village aunties out, women breastfeeding, or driving down the street, another man bathing on the side of the road. You know, Ghana whip out central. People will whip out and pee anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You be standing there peeing, and another man just come whip out standing next to you and pee. Like you like, yo, where you go out? I'm like, I don't go out a lot. I go out in December. You will see me standing on couches. In December, I'm like this. I'm like this in December. We popping bottles. Right? I'm like this in December. We popping bottles in December, bro. Right? Because it's the end of the year. You know, we got to celebrate, right? Yeah. We got to celebrate. That's what we doing when we hit the clubs. That's what, because all year we've worked really well. I've seen you out a couple times. You see me like, yo, bro, what you doing with this section? But for the whole, but we working.
Hello guys, and welcome back again to another amazing episode. And as you guys already know, this is the Diaspora Transition episode, where we have conversation with Diasporans who have relocated to the continent. Today is a special one. We do have here a recurring guest. We had one of the greatest conversations on this platform. It's over 600,000 viewers already, and the audience are asking for a part 2. So after 2 years, we are here again to have a dialogue. And this is a gentleman who said once upon a time he had a prophecy from a Ghanaian priest that he should embark on a journey to Africa, Ghana, and his life would change and everything would change for him. Today we are here to have a conversation. Was that prophecy true? So, and we will dive into other things, his journey, how has he been relocating from America to Ghana over the years. So without further ado, Diallo. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
You gave me one of the best interviews I've had on this platform.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Like, I mean, I'm glad the audience enjoyed it. Like, I'm glad people felt what was said, you know, what I had to say. So.
It was very candid, and I appreciate it. And you said you're ready for today. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Anyway.
I'm ready. You've been trying. You've been on me about making this happen. We here.
I know.
No, it's 2025. Let's go.
The audience need it. So let's say anybody missed our previous conversation. They probably don't know who you are. Just quickly, briefly introduce yourself to the people watching. My
name is Diallo Sumbry, aka 901. I am in Kosohini, which is the Chief of Development of Repatriation in the Akuapem North region of the Eastern region in Ghana. I'm also the President and CEO of the Adinkra Group. We are an African cultural resource company where we host birthright journeys for people of African descent who want to travel, visit, and repatriate to Ghana. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I'm an author, soon to be podcaster.
Yeah.
Is that good enough?
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
That's good. And
you know I'm shy, so I don't like introducing myself, but it's all right.
But I'll do it for you. You brought so many people, over 2,000 diasporans to Ghana so far, over the years. And it's incredible. That's a lot of people. That's literally 5 jumbo jets. That's how many people you brought to the continent.
Yeah, a few were whole planes, pretty much, but it's been an interesting journey. I still love it. You know, I still love it like my first time, which lets me know that it's natural, that it's the right place for me. I still have the same level of enthusiasm when a new group of people come and you get a chance to show them the Africa that you've grown to learn and love and like. So it's good.
Yeah, I saw you had a dreadlocks once.
Yes, Nazi bunga knots, full head of locks, full head of locks.
Can we go back? What was that story and how did that change?
Well, I was 14, I think, in summer camp, and I think some girls was twisting my hair or something. They was like, "Oh, you look cute." I was like, "Run with it." At the time, and then it just became a part of my identity. So a big part of my identity prior to coming to Ghana was this young black man with a full head of locks. And I think I let it grow pretty much for about 15, 17 years before I cut it the first time. So even coming to Africa, so part of it was just a hairstyle. And then it got to be feeling like some of it was where my power was, right? So it became a little bit more spiritual for me in terms of having it. And then, like I said, it was definitely a part of my identity. So you knew that this was a part of who I was. It was more than just a hairstyle because I had it before a lot of people had locks. So this was probably, when did I go full on? 1991, 92. So I remember even people asking like, are they braids? You know, are they twists?
real?
But you know, so yeah, that was definitely a different time in my life.
That's incredible. And I remember you told me something that a priest, you met someone in the U.S. He's a Ghanaian. Later on, you find out that he's a priest. If I'm mistaken, you can correct me.
No, you're correct.
And give you a prophecy that if you relocate to the continent of Africa, whatever you've been seeking will come to pass.
Yes.
I want us to touch on that subject matter because it's pretty much been your whole life now where you embarked on a journey and now you feel a sense of responsibility to make people feel the same way you felt the first time you touched down the continent. Can we just dive into that bit?
Well, let me say, it's not about making people feel the same way I felt, but it's about helping people discover the way they will feel, which is different, right? So we do a lot of intentional things. We guide you. We help you understand the rules and regulations, but we don't imprint on your mind what your journey should be. We don't say if you should like it or not. We know that it'll change you, and we know that it's really going to be up to you as to how it changes you. So it's not about like, oh, you should feel what I feel. It's really about discovering your own magic, discovering your own connection with Africa, and the best way to do that is to visit, right? I am still on my spiritual journey. I am still, for lack of a better word, living the prophecy. So I'm still here following that. And pretty much what he said is, my teacher, his name is Nana Yao Yorinchi Jabi the First, Akomfoheni for Nana Akonadi Latte Shrine. And he's still my teacher. He's still my spiritual leader. He's still my father, uncle, and friend. We're on this journey together, I would say that. So it's really about fulfilling your destiny, living a purposeful life, right? So in translating what he said, I now understand that what he meant was, you will find your reason for being here. And when you find your reason for being here, the ancestors, the spirits of Africa, and all things around you, in harmony with God, will come to support you in your aid. So what I realized is now it was really about living a purposeful life. It was really about finding your journey. You know, there are a lot of people who are just trying to figure out what they're here to do. Most people don't know what they're here to do.
Can we talk about that?
They don't know what they're here to do. What's been taught, and a lot of times in the West, sometimes here too, you're just here to work every day, to eat, to do this, not to really fulfill a mission, not to accomplish something, or to live, or to understand that your life is a journey of different accomplishments, and it's a means to an end, not an end to not an end to a means, right? So every day you live to do something different in the same book. You live to tell the same story, a different story in the same book, right? And it's all geared towards the same purpose.
Interesting.
It's to live a purposeful life. So what it is that you were meant to, why were you born at this time? Why weren't you born in 1800, 1900, right? 1950, 1600. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience. We didn't get to decide when we would come into this earth. So we were all born at the time that we were born for specific reasons. Just like your ancestors were born at the time that they were born for specific reasons. Because if some of y'all was to replace your ancestors, your family line might not make it because a lot of y'all weak.
Interesting.
So some of you had to be born later. You couldn't have replaced your great-great-great-grandfather because you might not have made that journey. That was his cross to bear, so to speak, her cross to bear. It was for them to take that journey to get here so that you could bring your talents and skills and do what you needed to do during your time.
Even that, they don't want to come.
You say even?
Even that is easier now.
Well,
the hard work has been done by their forefathers.
I don't know that it's easier. See, I don't like words like that. It's different.
It's different.
Physically, yes. Like I deal with that myself. Like, yo, you know, I don't have to avoid being lynched physically. But it's a little trickier when we talk about redlining, when we talk about racism, when we talk about working a job and not being able to get a raise, when we talk about being locked out of certain industries, when we talk about, a lot of what's happening in the world right now. So I can't say that physical, well, maybe I can say that physical, psychological, emotional torture is harder than what it is that we're going through right now. But I'm gonna say this about that. And this is what I find is interesting. You can't say you believe in God as much as you do and not accept that part of our history as also something that needed to happen.
Interesting, really?
It sounds crazy to say, but I'm gonna say it. Without the transatlantic slave trade, you don't have the invention of the African American. You don't, as we know it and as we see it. Maybe through a different way, right? Because we know Africans traveled to America on their own. We don't know that we would have, I don't know that I could have grew up to Eric B. and Rakim. I don't know that I could have grew up to NWA on the West Coast, Scarface, Outkast. If everything didn't happen in the time that it was supposed to happen, I might not have that as a part of my history right now.
Sure.
Right? As small as it may seem in the scheme of things. So we believe in God, we believe in all of these spiritual things, but when it comes to the transatlantic slave trade, in that part of our history, and that's the history of the world and African people and how we've progressed, bondage, freedom, this, I just feel like it's kind of hard to believe in God as much as people say they do and that God is in control of everything and there's this power without accepting that as a part of the journey. So I've gotten to a point in my life where I realized it was a part of the journey for whatever reason.
You have to make peace with that.
You have to. And it's not something that you make peace with and you stay. You got to make peace with it every day. Because every day you see the remnants of it.
Because I've had people who said, oh, you sold us into slavery, so we're not even dare come to the continent of Africa to come find my root and where my descendant ancestors came from.
Yeah, there are people who are going to say that and feel that. I reconcile that every day being here. I know that I've met some Ghanaians, some Nigerians, some Sierra Leoneans whose ancestors had to be the one that sold us because these cats so greedy right now that the traitorous, it's probably not even a word, the behavior that it requires for somebody to sell their own people into bondage is happening now. What's the difference between selling your people into bondage and selling the same piece of land 12 times? What's the big difference? It's the same character. It's the same character.
Can we speak on that subject matter?
But am I right? Is it not the same character?
You're right.
What it is I need to get what I need to get for me, no matter who I need to run over, stand over, topple over, or what it means to you. So I could have taken my life savings, this $40,000 that I have to buy a plot in prom, and I've trusted you with it. Not only have you sold it to me, but you sold it for 10 other people, probably not even all at 40,000, just different prices. And now everybody's out of their money. Now you have no idea what effect that has on me.
How many years you had to work to save that?
And then how many years, what I plan to do with it, how it's going to affect my children's life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now back in the day, maybe it wasn't $40,000. Maybe it was cowrie shells, a mirror, a whiskey, and some guns. Maybe it was a promise for a better life, right? Maybe it was a promise that white Jesus was going to save you. It was something that had somebody say, I'm going to participate in this. Trust me, I am a defender of the debate around the difference between chattel slavery and the type of enslavement and slavery, indentured servitude that African people had prior to their contact with the Europeans and the Arabs. I'm a defender of that argument. I know it well. To say that it was very different. But it still stems from the same character. Interesting. So yes, that was a part of it. The same way there were Africans who resisted and gave their life to not be in that situation. The same way it is now. Like, you know, life is cyclic like that. So you had those same kind of Judases then that you have now. They exist right here in Ghana right now. In every circle.
Interesting.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's not really, so for me, it's like we're living now, and I can look 500 years, 400 years, 300, 200, 100. We all got to deal with what we have to deal with in our time. Now, how do you address that? How do you deal with what you have to deal with in your time?
How do you do that?
Every day. Best way to eat an elephant is to cut it up in small pieces. It's too big of a mission to do at one time. Another way to do that is to live your life in a way that allows you to do that, if that's your journey. It's to save yourself. What they say on the airplane, put your own face mask on first.
Before you help somebody.
You got to save yourself first. You got to try at least. And saving yourself can mean getting to a certain understanding. Getting to a certain peace within yourself. Getting to a certain place where you're okay. A lot of people can't be in dark rooms with their own thoughts, man.
Really? It gets that deep?
It does.
You've been here how many years now? 16, 17 years?
No. In Ghana?
Yeah.
Only 11.
Only 11.
Well, I've been here 8 years. It's been, 2025 would be the 11th year since I first visited Ghana.
And you've seen Diasporans come, you've seen Diasporans go. And it's true, even people, they came as a tourist, they stayed for a number of months.
It ain't right. If you don't come and don't want to stay, it ain't right. Because you want to stay. So many people come and change their ticket. So many people come and change their ticket. You're drawn. Listen, black people in America have been longing for home so long that when you arrive and find a place where you belong, who would want to leave? If you've been longing for love, affection, home, care, this feeling that this is where you're supposed to be, of being in the majority, of seeing everybody that look like you, of seeing people that look like you on all the billboards, of eating food that feel like it was made for you, and then just of some level of peaceful living and existence. And not only have you been longing for that, but life tells you that your ancestors longed for it. And you're still longing for it, even with all of the technology and modernity and Wi-Fi and AI and Chat GPT. Even with all of that, you're still longing because you're a spiritual being having a human, a physical existence. So you still are longing for this feeling like a child that wants to suckle with his mother. So when you come here, it's natural to feel that way.
Interesting.
Very natural to feel like I'm home, I'm here, and I don't want to leave. And the weather's always nice.
Yeah.
That doesn't hurt.
And even though people feel like this, sometimes they don't have what it takes to continue living on the continent because it gets expensive.
Well, nobody knows what it takes till you try it. Well, let me change that. We do. You just got to do your homework.
Okay.
You do. You got to do your homework. So many people either don't do their homework or they choose to pay a higher cost later than a lower cost up front.
Well, how does that paint the picture with that?
Okay. Somebody watches this YouTube video and says, hey, Diallo, I'm interested in moving to Ghana. And I want to move to Ghana, and I'm wondering if you can help me. And I say, sure, I have a repatriation program. This is what the program costs. Oh, that cost is too high. I don't want to pay it. Okay. You go another way, you move to Ghana, and you wind up losing 3 times the amount you could have paid to avoid those pitfalls. It's going to cost you, whether now or later.
Interesting.
You know, are you willing to engage in or with someone that might have proven strategies, that has the history on the ground, that has the network to help you? That's going to make sense.
you've been here for 11 years. That's something for an African American to be in Ghana, considering you have no family ties. You have to come independently. Obviously, you are into this family now, which is great. They've adopted you, I'm sure. Which is
We've
great.
adopted each other.
Each other, right? But now, I mean, 11 years into it, you've been successful. You've had several businesses that you've pioneered and actually been successful at it. What are you doing differently that is making you so successful over the years, 11 years being here in Ghana, that people watching could take, you know, some advice from you?
What am I doing differently? Well, one, I'm definitely not afraid to make mistakes. I'm not afraid to ask for help. And I've also found my network of people. I also haven't been afraid to take my time. I haven't been afraid to not try to have it all at once. And I'm living a purposeful life.
So you're saying patience has played a major role in your journey?
Oh, definitely patience has played a major role. Taking your time, trying to figure out how to do it, exploring new opportunities, exploring new ways to do things, exploring new methods to do things. While I'm here, my majority business is travel and tourism. It's something that I've been doing for several years here. So as we started talking about in the beginning, I'm still enthusiastic about it. I still get excited when I see them get off the plane. Like, they about to get it. Right?
It could be in so many different ways.
yes. They about to get it. Yeah. Pause. Right? So it's like, it's so many different things. It's so many different processes that you go through in order to maintain your own sanity in a way, and in order to maintain your own ability to thrive. Because you can survive or you thrive, and I'm thriving here. I'm not interested in just surviving. I could just survive anywhere. So I'm moving with a high level of intention. A high level of intention. I'm spiritually grounded here. I still have my family that I speak to. I still have mentors that I speak to.
You still have a mentor at this level?
Many of my peers are my mentors. At what level? What level?
Sometimes people feel too big to have a mentor.
Who are those people?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Because I had a consultation
I feel sorry for them.
It's either they don't want to pay for it, they think they can watch YouTube videos and figure it out by themselves.
But all mentors don't cost money. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about a coach, a specific business coach who you got to pay a fee to. The problem with most people is, most people who say that they haven't found or couldn't do things, is they're thinking about it the wrong way. You probably have a peer who thinks differently than you. I have a good friend of mine, he's an engineer. He's younger than me. But I value the way he thinks so much. I've made him a mentor.
Interesting.
I've made him a mentor. How? Why? Because when I'm doing certain things, I need to call him and ask him his opinion.
He sees it differently.
I need to get, how would you do this? He thinks like an engineer. He's going to put it together differently than I would. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. So mentorship is not always that kind of relationship that we're used to, like apprenticeship. Like you go to a master carpenter and another carpenter comes and you got to sit under your master and learn this. Sometimes mentorship, I got a good friend of mine, his name is Cash. He's the owner of a few restaurants in Atlanta and one of my business partners here now. And he gave me a gem that I've been living off of for 2 years.
What is that?
Manage your ambitions. Just that word. Just those three. Manage your ambitions. Now I've been able to take that and use it as a driving force for all that I'm doing. So when I get too excited and I'm supposed to be doing this and I want to do this, it's manage your ambitions.
Because that can break you.
It brings me back center. So it's really, when you value mentorship, you can find mentorship in people younger than you, in people who may have less experience than you have in certain areas. And you can even find you can find mentorship in so many different places and ways, basically, is what I'm saying. So being here on the continent that's a part of it. And it's also something that's very new for me. Not new, but my friends will tell you. It's stepping into who you are. The last time we did this interview, I don't think I have fully stepped into who I am as much as I have now.
What do you mean by that?
Like understanding that I'm a leader.
Okay.
Understanding that I'm a leader, understanding that there are a lot of people looking to me for help, understanding that when I speak, people listen, understanding that I have a responsibility to tell the truth, understanding that I have a responsibility to share information, to help people, that God put me here for a specific reason. And in some ways, understanding that, yo, I'm that fucking dude. I don't have to be arrogant about it or egotistical about it, but you can stand in your power. You can stand in your confidence, and you can stand in your mission without being egotistical or arrogant about it. And I had been avoiding some of that, right? For whatever reason, you know, having an imposter syndrome and not wanting to be who God meant you to be. And I'm not that way anymore. I'm very much like,
I'm glad to hear that.
you know, as a chief, as Nana, you know, everybody serves you. So when I pull up, everybody's coming to the car to see if I have bags. When the food comes, it's brought to me. If I want to carry something to the trash, somebody runs and takes it from me. I had a problem with that before.
Interesting. Really?
I didn't because I was coming with a different mindset until I was talking to some of the people in my village. They said, nah, we don't serve every chief here like we serve you. Have you noticed? It's not all chiefs who get this respect.
Interesting.
But we give it to you because of who you are and how you are with us. You've earned it.
Interesting.
So they've helped me to be okay with letting somebody take my bag. You understand?
Yeah,
with taking the food, with having my clothes being washed. Those are small things, but with being served, because I'm also serving the people. What king does not serve his people? Who made you a king if you have a crown and you're not serving your people?
Exactly.
That's why they say heavy. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. It's not heavy because of that metaphor doesn't come from, the heaviness is not because of all the gold in your pocket. The heaviness is because of the responsibility on your shoulders. So I'm at a different place now in Ghana, not just Ghana, in Africa. Because I've done a lot of work in Sierra Leone, helping people get citizenship. I'm doing work in Nigeria, Cameroon, other African countries where I'm moving around.
You feel like it's spiritual. This all you're doing, because you could have just been independently living.
I could have done something different, but again, a purposeful life. I took the chance. My teacher said, if you do this, this will happen, and I just tried it. I said, okay, it sounds good to me. I'll try. That's literally what happened. And it's not even his magic. It's him who helped me understand that God gave this to you when you were born. It was your job to figure out that it was given to you and what to do with it.
Interesting.
Everybody, for example, when did you know you was going to be who you are? You didn't.
11 years ago?
Huh?
11 years ago?
11 years ago.
Yeah.
You knew that this is who you're going to be, who you are. And what happened before that 11 years? You were trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And even who you are now is not who you're going to be in 11 years.
100%.
So for the next 11 years, you're still figuring out. You're trying to arrive constantly at who you are going to be, your best self. So am I. But you found your path and your journey. You're now not switching industries. You're not now trying to be the best farmer that you can be.
I'll try.
Right? But it'll be in alignment with who you are.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with farming. What I'm saying is it's in alignment. And everything you do is in alignment.
That you finding yourself kind of give you a different kind of energy to tackle what you're doing. Did it give you any kind of...
What's that?
You finding yourself. You said...
Yes. Environment is extremely important. Black people need an environment for them. This is my opinion. This is not a fact. Black people in America, I believe, with the proper cultural education, with the proper mindset, and even not without it immediately, but with the willingness to learn and get it, will always grow and behave differently and live differently in most African countries. Because you're going to take everything you have, and when you arrive and decide to stay, and if you're open and truly looking to find your best self, then you also have to allow what Africa has to offer in you, such as cultural education. The living culture that we have on the African continent with regards to protocol, with regards to respect, not just for each other and our elders, but for nature. There's so many things here that are valuable that are not a part of our life growing up in certain instances in certain parts of the cities in the United States, that when we marry that with what we have,
who looked at it and said, is this kind of cultural practice are barbaric?
Which kind of cultural practice?
Example, you kill sheep. There's some culture here in the when the women come of age, they go public naked. And this modern day, someone will look at that and it's like, why is this young girls showing their nakedness in public? I don't think this is right. Rather than respecting the culture and understanding that this is their way.
And then what you have to do is look at the people who have sexualized nakedness. Because when did being naked become bad or sexual? You were born naked. I've gotten so used to seeing village auntie breasts just out. You understand what I'm saying? Can I say titties?
Yeah.
Okay. I've gotten so used to seeing village auntie titties out, women breastfeeding, or driving down the street, another man bathing on the side of the road. You know, Ghana whip out central. People will whip out and pee anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You be standing there peeing, and another man just come whip out standing next to you and pee. So I've gotten so used to the non-sexualization of bodies in some ways, in body parts that other parts of the world look at and say, oh, this is barbaric. I mean, I don't agree with just peeing in public. Let me just say that. I don't agree with just, right? I think men should always be able to go to the bush and the tree, and I think that's fine, but just on the sidewalk in the open gutter, that's foul.
Right.
So who says, who gets the right to say that a culture is barbaric? Because it's not something that you've done. When all your culture is mind duplicated and changed. What culture did not come from Africa? In some ways, in some part of Africa. People talk about, oh, you killing the sheep and do this. And I haven't fully read the Bible and I don't know all the scripture, but I know there are sacrifices there.
Yeah.
So it's okay for you to do it, but it's not okay for me to do it. And we need to be careful because culture is not just those things. Culture is eating together. Sunday dinner. Culture is having a big asanka with fufu and all four of us eat together with our hands. And everybody understands not to use your left without an explanation.
Interesting.
Culture is walking in a room and greeting from the right. Because that's what you do. Culture is, yes, Ghanaian culture, but many other cultures too.
Oh, really?
Yes. Culture is when people come to your house, you seat them, give them water, and let them relax before you ask why they are there. That's more than just Ghanaian culture. That's in other parts too. So there's so many different parts of culture that for people to pick out parts of it and say it was barbaric, then they obviously have an ulterior motive. They obviously want to do something else. And some of them just stupid and ignorant. Just that simple. Like it ain't even that deep. Some of it is pure stupidity and ignorance.
Interesting. Interesting. Let's speak about you. You're African American. You live your life in America.
From Trenton, New Jersey.
Right. And
honorary Washingtonian. I'm born in Trenton, New Jersey. I'm from Trenton, let them know. And I grew up in Washington, D.C., uptown for life. You understand? So I'm pure, because people are like, oh, what about your parents? I get that a lot. What about your grandparents?
Yeah.
So nobody in your family is from Africa? I'm like, at some point down the line, we've traced our ancestry using AfricanAncestry.com, but it's not like, oh, my grandfather was from here.
That you can point to the family tree.
African American, for lack of a better words, Black American, Negro, I'm okay with all of those.
Yeah, and that makes your story even unique, that now you are a chief. You are a whole chief, right? And you describe the treatment that you're getting. Did your mind fathom this as a reality, even along your journey anyway?
Well, it was in the cards for me, but I didn't know it was going to happen until it happened, and then I accepted it.
Interesting.
So it wasn't a goal, because when they first asked me, I said no. I was like, well, the things I'm going to do anyway. You know, I don't like titles all the time. Sometimes titles confuse people. You know, it's like as soon as you get a title, most people don't understand between being a boss and leadership.
What's the difference?
Well, leaders move with the people. Bosses tell the people how to move and what to do. Leaders will model that.
So which one are you? I obviously know that. But let's speak about it. Is that even a possibility for even people watching this video? Is it even possible for people watching from America to be instituted as chiefs of development in Africa?
It's possible. It happens. So, one, I think there's a little bit of education that people need about the stool and the idea of being in stool. And so most people will respect the chair. So if you look at an organization like a nonprofit and there's a chairman, the idea about being the chairman is the chair is the most important thing, because people will come in and out of the chair. But it's the role, it's the position of president, it's this, it's that, it's that. Now, whether or not you're really qualified, whether or not you're the best at it when you move into the chair, but people will respect the chair, right? And what that chair's job is. Same for the stool. The stool is a position, a role. So in every Ghanaian community specifically, you know you're going to have your Mankrado, you know you're going to have your this, you know you're going to have your Jasi, you know you're going to have all of these various roles. In the 1960s, the role of Nkoso Hini was created in Ghana because there were so many different diasporans coming back and forth, and Otumfo at the time wanted to ensure that those people could have traditional leader roles in their communities that were official to help, because people wanted to come and help. So you live in London or the US and you making dollars and you want to come help back home and help develop your town. How do you do that in an official capacity? Well, now you have the invention of Nkoso Hini and Nkoso Hima in the 60s. I can't give you the exact time, but that's the history of it. So it was created for diasporans, pretty much. You know, now it's a lot of fake chiefs out here. We could talk about that. It's a lot of people who've been made queen mother. Man, all these imposters. Oh, I'm a queen mother here. I'm a chief here. Oh, please don't talk about Lisa Ray, the queen mother of Ghana. She's a joke. It's not even her fault. She just didn't get the proper education.
Right.
She didn't get the proper education. You know, oh, I'm a queen mother in this town. I'm a chief in this town. Nana, I wear my Ntoma. You know, I got my horse whisper. Oh, bless you. Sit your ass down. You ain't doing shit. Show me what you're doing. If you're a true king, queen, mother, chief, take me to your community and show me how you're serving the people. If there's one thing that I hope changes moving forward, is that, you know, but people will always want to take advantage. You know, it's just like, it's a lot of people who got supervisors at their job that don't deserve to be a supervisor. They haven't done the work. They're not smart enough to really lead the group of people that they're leading. They're not doing it with integrity, authenticity, right? They don't really care. But for this particular thing, because it's my industry and it's something that I'm a part of, and I'm a real Nana, not just a real Nana, but Nana one, Bakope. I'm now taking it more seriously, and I'm okay to speak about it. In the past, I didn't want to because I felt like, nah, some of y'all don't deserve it. Some of y'all need to be de-stooled. Some of y'all need to be taken off the stool. And for anybody who's watching and listening, I would hope that if you take the title, you do it properly. Because there are rituals that are done for you. Number one, when it's done properly, there are rituals that go through. Right now, I'm going through the process of making sure my name is in the National House of Chiefs. So there's a process when you become a chief in your town to actually be in the register in the National House of Chiefs, and you have to go through the chain of command. So your community, the sub-chief, this, all the way up to whoever your paramount is, and then to the National House of Chiefs for your name to be registered as a real chief. So now you've gone through all of this protocol and process in order to do that, if you want to be official.
Interesting.
Now, if you want to keep your raggedy ass unofficial and just use the title and just use it to be over people.
I've had that experience before.
Let me tell you something was really interesting. You see chiefs being carried in the palanquin.
Yeah.
And the thought just came to me, you're being carried in the palanquin and everybody's holding you above them. They're holding you above them because they know you don't have a problem holding them up.
Is that the reason?
It just hit me. I don't know. They're raising you up because you know they say raise to power. When a chief is made a stool, you raise to power. So you're propping them up. Ask yourself, who are the chiefs that fall out of the palanquin when that happens, and then you get destooled or you're embarrassed? Why do you fall? The only way you're going to fall is if the people carrying you are not secure. I apologize. This whole interview, I've been using my left hand, and I shouldn't have. Lip out, yo. I'm going to switch to my right. Right? So just think about that. So that means somebody under you who's holding you up, somebody gave way, somebody got tired, or you rocked too heavy too much and they didn't. Something happened.
Or maybe they don't support your instrument.
Or maybe they don't support you. And they did that to embarrass you. So you can be a chief. Some people want to come and be a chief. But as a part of our re-immersion into African culture, learning different cultures, because we have our own African American culture that we come and that we bring with us. Come and learn it, man. Come sit down. Don't just come take it. And then people are buying chieftaincy titles.
That's true.
You done gave somebody some money and then they gave you the title and you take the title and leverage it. I mean, I'm against all inauthentic behavior. You know, I'm against all inauthentic behavior that just doesn't pay tribute to doing the right thing.
The right things. Your experience is worth a lot of money. I had a consultation with, she's a diasporan, Ghanaian diasporan, and she's like, a lot of us here in the diaspora have the money, not too much money, but a little to sustain ourselves. We want to move back to the continent, but we don't know what to do. We literally don't know what to do. We've watched YouTube videos of people relocating. We've seen everything, but we just don't know how to go about it. And obviously, 11 years is a lot, right? You've seen other folks come do business, be successful, etc. Let's say you have the answer, or you can even suggest what the necessary message to to these folks would be. Can you just tell them on their approach? What should they do?
Well, it's easy. You can just go to my Instagram and DM me and sign up for a call. Because most of the times it's not a cookie cutter solution for everybody.
Right.
So my approach to everything, or most things here, is curation.
Curation.
Curation. It needs to be curated for you. It needs to be tailored to your specific needs. If you are a husband and wife who work remotely and you have children between the ages of 2 to 5, your needs and your trajectory are going to be very different from a single person who works remotely and has no children. Totally different. So I can't possibly give you the same solutions. The family with those kids, not only do they need a place that's more stable, They need a trajectory that's going to allow their kids to grow through, up, and in and out. The single person could take a lot more risk because you can pack up and go back to where you came from if it don't work out. And you can afford to be more aggressive. You can afford to take more risk. So one is there aren't cookie cutter solutions for your repatriation journey. But there are standard steps that everybody can take. Now what those steps are, I can't necessarily give it to you here because you just told everybody about how expensive and valuable my experience is, right? So that's something that people can definitely contact me for, and we can kind of have those conversations. You can go to my Instagram @thereal901. You can hit my DM. You can check the link in the bio, and then we can begin to engage in a call. But there are a few standard steps, and what I will do is I'll give you one of them. The first and one of the most important is to know your why. Only you can discover that.
Your reason.
What's your reason for being here? You got to know that. I can't really help you move into some of the next steps until you know your why. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is what's your reason why. And most people underestimate literally getting into writing it out, asking themselves the question, asking their mate the question, talking to their children about it, young or old, whether you're in grade school or high school. What do you think about moving to Africa? Watch as much YouTube as you can, but take time to actually discover, why am I doing this? Why is this important to me? Because those are the things that you're going to have to go back to when you run into certain obstacles and situations that make you want to quit.
And your faith is tested.
So, like I said, there are standard steps that people can take, but beyond those standard steps, that's kind of your 101, your intro. And then you get into more solutions, you get into more reflections, and you get into more processes that actually literally help you have success here.
Let's speak about what is holding us back as people, as black people, as Africans.
Who said that there's something holding us back?
There is. I've had, there is so many.
What's holding us back?
So many. I mean, like, example, I've had business owners who relocated.
You know what's holding us back? Bad jollof rice. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know, business owners, right? Even dealing with your employees. Someone poured $100,000 into a restaurant in ANC Mall, realized how her employees were stealing from her, basically trying to collapse her business. And this is someone who is investing, trying to create jobs. So there's a kind of mindset that we do have that is not helping our growth. Now, on the contrary, you've seen other business owners, you've seen Lebanese, they come here and they thrive. They have systems in place, and even though you are African, you can't even cheat, you can't even steal from them.
Well, we have, our people, we do have Stockholm Syndrome, and that's when you love your oppressor more than you love yourself. And there are many Ghanaian business owners who bring in Indian and Lebanese managers because the employees will respect the Indian or the Lebanese or the African American or the German person more than they will them. Some of that is just Stockholm Syndrome. But, you know, when you talk about these things, on one hand, you know, in our first interview, we talked about different traumas. These are traumas that people are carrying with them. Much of it is from colonization. I always got to remind people that Ghana was independent in '57. We're still only 2 generations from this country being independent to be able to think for themselves and govern for themselves, supposedly. That's not a long time. It's still infantile compared to some of the other nations who've been around for a lot longer and been able to build and get themselves to a point where they can do a lot better. Much of that was with our free labor, right? So we've gotten to a certain point. Here's another thing that I'm gonna say, and it's not, you know, I don't want to get all spiritual. But again, if you believe in God and you trust God's timing, then we are getting better. The problem you just mentioned is not purely Ghanaian, but it's heavily Ghanaian. This idea of not telling the truth and this idea of employees stealing from their employers in Ghana, I don't know. What I would do is ask Ghanaian people to search your heart and your soul and ask yourself, Adang, Why? Why do so many Ghanaians do this? Why is it such a problem in Ghana of people selling land 1 million times over? Why is that? Why is it a thing here where it feels like, I'm not going to say it is, but it feels like a lot of people's first inclination is to cheat you.
Interesting.
I'm in the market, I'm trying to buy something. Why immediately add 500%? Yo, boss, how much is this? 500 Ghana cedis. 500 Ghana cedis for this? Okay, I'll take 150. So you mean to tell me you started off at 500 Ghana cedis, and my first complaint, you took off 350 Ghana cedis. That means you was willing to charge me that but then I was talking to another friend of mine, and I forget exactly how he said it, but he said value is in the eye of the beholder. So if you felt it was worth 500 Ghana cedis and you paid it, am I wrong for charging you 500 Ghana cedis? I'm on both sides of this thing. So it's like, I'm still dealing with it. I'm still learning it, but it's interesting because, you know, I was saying, if I have a plot of land and you have a plot of land next to each other, and you have a difficult time selling your plot of land for $100,000, so you settle for $60,000, and I'm right next to you, and I sell my plot of land for $500,000, am I overcharging or are you undercharging?
It's an art.
Because Ghana doesn't have the systems in place to say that you're overcharging or undercharging, because we don't know. In the real estate market specifically, you have to be able to get comps. People have to report how much they've paid for their property, how much money they've added into their property in order to determine the amount of equity. And right now, Ghana's not in the place, and I'm just using real estate as an example because so many people are interested in real estate in Ghana, where you can say, I'm going to buy property in this area because I can know I could go on the GhanaMLS.com and pull comps. So a lot of it is manual. You'll have agents, you'll have developers, you'll have real estate companies who can pull that information for you and piece it together. And most of it, if you find the right person, that it could be pretty reliable. But a lot of them, it's not reliable. It's a guessing game. Right? So I'm saying that to say that when it comes to outright stealing from your employer, then employers really got to figure that out. Somebody just sent me an article that was basically saying, I mean, with me and my business partners, we're going cashless at our hotels. I'm not sure if you know that I'm one of the owners of Oasis Beach Resort. Did you know that?
No.
Okay, so we bought Oasis Beach Resort right next to Cape Coast Dungeon, right there. So I'm one of the owners there. And I mean, we haven't had that experience of all of this people stealing, but it's almost inevitable when you're dealing with a lot of cash. When you're in a place where there are a lot of poor people, there's a lot of poverty. So you got to kind of put some systems in place. And for us, we're looking at going cashless in much of our business operations. So we have something called a Journey to 1,000 Sleeping Rooms, where we have one in Senegal, 2 in Senegal, 2 here, a few more here. We're sitting in one that's almost complete. So it's something that the business owner has to deal with. And then I think as the country grows, more and more diasporans come, people can kind of search their soul for why, like the stealing, because it's out of hand.
I mean,
it's getting out of control.
Yeah, you've dealt with a lot of diasporans coming down. What are some of the greatest complaints, the most complained about?
Well, I think it's service delivery. I'm not just talking about customer service in the restaurant, but I think it's service delivery, and I think it's either service delivery and then maybe also a lack of follow-up, right? So like I understand that most of the industries in Ghana, the vendors don't have the capital to buy the materials to do the job that you're hiring them to do, right? I want a roof. I can't pay a small deposit for you to finish my roof and then pay the balance when you finish. The reason why I have to pay 70 to 80% is because you need all of that money to purchase all of the materials. You can't go get the materials on credit. So it's a cash move. I need to give you this 20,000 Ghana cedis for you to get all of the materials. I mean, we know the roof is going to cost more than 20,000, but. And then, in history. So it's the market and how it works, and then it's also the history of people not being trustworthy. So in Ghana, a lot of people do not want to take the job unless they get all the money, or unless they get most of the money because they've been stiffed in the past. Not just because of the way the market is and hey, I don't have access to the resources, but it's like, I've learned my lesson. And they've either been stiffed by another Ghanaian or a diasporan. I don't know why, I don't know what that's about, I don't know how, but what I do know is that this year, 2025, what you will see from me, and I think you'll be proud of me, and others will be, is that you'll see me firmly taking my leadership position more seriously. You'll see me speaking more, you'll hear me talking more, you'll even see me standing differently as one of the leaders of the diasporan movement and advocates for black people reassimilating back to Africa into what and how we should do, not only just my opinions, but also sharing my own projects, my own models for how to do it, and then helping more people to do it. I have a place now where I can bring you to. You can come and stay with me for 2 weeks and go to the community center and work in the community center. You can bring your kids. You can bring the kids from your neighborhood. Those same kids that you say is you tired of running around the neighborhood doing this. Now all of the justice system workers in the United States who are trying to figure out different ways because the parole system, the probation system, the juvenile homes, and all of the services that are being provided from the various counseling services are not working with our young black men and women in the U.S. Now we can try to move them to a different environment. But we had to own that environment first. Now I have a place where I can bring people. Now I have a place that I own that's built for that particular purpose. So it's going to be a little easier for me to kind of rise to the occasion, stand up, step forward, and speak with a little bit more authority. In the past, you know, I've always been kind of...
I mean, you've been low-key, you've done a lot of work.
Yes.
But behind the scenes,
yes.
I would say.
Yes.
And for one thing that I know for sure is even with the year of return, there was a lot of work that went into it. I don't know if you got the whole credit for it, but those who knew that. Yeah,
and people, I'm writing that book this year.
What is it about?
I'm telling the story. I'm telling the real shit that, I'm telling the real shit that no one knows.
When is it coming out?
This is the behind the scenes that like, okay, because I've sat and I've watched for 5 to 8 years. So many people talk about how they started the year of return or what they did. And I'm not doing this against them. I'm doing this for me, and I just want to show and tell my story. And I encourage everybody to tell their story. So I've just watched everybody else tell their story. Now I'm coming to tell mine, but I'm bringing my receipts.
I like that.
I'm like, I did this, receipt. And for me, let me just say this, because it's not so much about I did this, because I still believe that whole thing, there was too many miracles involved. So you won't even hear me say I did this. You will hear me say I put myself in a position to allow this thing to use me as a vehicle to work through to make it happen.
I like that.
Because that's the real thing that happened. See, there are those of us who are time travelers. There are those of us who are angels walking amongst us. Our job, more than anything, is to remain clean, responsible, acceptable vehicles for the Holy Spirit to work through. Most of those people are not preachers. The real ones. Not the preachers who stealing y'all money, but the real ones. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. No, I do. And it's so true. Look, I think the receipts are everywhere. I came to this village and you have 2 projects simultaneously. That's a lot of pressure.
That's
for
a
your
lot of
community.
pressure. Yep.
This building that we're filming in, and also the community, the library, and
Yes,
the
community
classroom
center.
building.
Yep.
And you're doing it in the village where it's most needed. You know, it's not in the middle of Accra that people have it.
Accra is too crowded. The air is bad. You know, the jollof is too expensive and too dry. The ingredients aren't fresh. My farm is here.
Let's talk about that. You eat from that farm.
Yes. What's fufu made out of?
Plantain, cassava.
Mainly plantain and cassava.
Yeah.
You know what's behind me? Plantain and cassava.
Literally.
What's banku made out of?
Maize.
You know what's behind me?
Maize.
If you eat, contumere is one of my favorites. You know what's behind me? I mean, it's not, contumere is kind of off season right now,
yeah.
but you understand what I'm saying? Pepper, tomato, it's all here. It's all right around me, garlic, ginger. And if I don't grow it here, I can go to the market and get a whole 10 for 20 CDs.
And you said something and it stood out the last time we did the interview, that people are running away from this kind of lifestyle, but that's exactly what they should probably run into.
I think maybe the difference between then and now is that I feel like more people are starting to see. Number one, it's expensive.
The chicken agree with what you said.
Yes, those are my roosters. They got paid to crow at that time. Watch how many other times they do that. They want their check. I told you. They want their check, man.
Well, incredible. It's beautiful here. I love a village life because that's how I grew up. I grew up in a village somewhere in Sound. We had,
this home is not too far.
No, not so far from here. We eat from our garden. Me going to grocery shopping was so foreign to us because we have everything. And what I realized, my health was way better when I was living in the village than when I went to high school and I went to Accra and traveled abroad.
Yeah.
And I think it helps you expand your lifespan.
Yes.
How old are you? You look very young.
How old do you think I am? Say the right thing.
I'm thinking 40, 45.
No, that's good. If that's honest, that's cool. 45. I'm a little older. 2025 will be my 50th year on the face of this earth. So I'll be 50 this year. I could definitely be in better physical shape. Mentally, I'm still sharp. Spiritually, I'm probably grounded more than I've ever been in my life, and it's growing stronger. And this year, I hope to bring all of those things together, you know, in a way that suits me best, because I want to be around for as long as I can, not only for my family, my children, and my grandchildren, but I want to be around as long as God would have me be around. And that's necessary for me to kind of continue with my mission, because I feel like we're just getting started, right? We just had 524 people become citizens of Ghana.
Yes.
Now more than ever. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure whenever this is going to air, right? Have all your listeners check for something called the Age of the Diasporan. I have a small talk I'm doing called the Age of Diaspora and the Truth About Citizenship in Africa, right? I'll make sure I let you know. So that people can kind of understand where we are and how things are moving now. What time are we in? Look at what's happening in the U.S. with the current government. That was one of the biggest pushes for us, I believe, in 2019 at that time. I think that was one of the biggest pushes for us in 2019, is that particular president got elected, and people were like, oh, and it helped to push. And now I think it's coming back again, honestly. I feel like it's coming back in that push. Bruh, my phone is crazy right now. Bruh, how do I get citizenship? How do I move to Africa?
How many people came from you? No, I want to know. There's 524 people.
So, okay, so let me say this. For me directly, I don't know. I never counted directly. What I will say, though, is the 524 came November 19th, 2024. The last group of citizens came November 19th, 2022. I happen to be the president of the African American Association of Ghana for 2023 and 2024. And I would probably say maybe more than half of those 524 came from our association. So I had some existing very strong relationships with the Diaspora Affairs Office, Ghana Tourism Authority, et cetera, because of my work at the Year of Return. And because of the work that many others have done, Mama Imicus, Rabbi Kohen, Dr. Molana, all of those elders in Ghana who have been advocating for citizenship for years, before I even came here.
Yeah.
And when we found out and we knew that the president was going to give citizenship, we didn't know if it was a cap. We didn't know. And then it was just, as we was asking, it's like, you know, just this the cutoff date. Yeah. However many sign up at that cutoff date.
Yeah, because the 524 happened, but there was another section that happened.
It was some after the 524. It was supposed to be 180. It was another one, quick, kind of at the end, quiet.
What was that about?
So, you know, it's a lot of theories out there, man. It's a lot of theories.
Because I saw, look, I'll just say it. Someone came to me, and like, I saw Dr. Umar get citizenship.
Yeah.
He doesn't live in Ghana. How does that work? And I'm like, I don't know.
What percentage of the 524 actually live in Ghana?
Let's talk about it.
Not many.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that I'll say. I think that it was important for His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo to do that. Because for the 8 years that he was in office, the Year of Return, Beyond a Return, and his work with the diaspora, many believe, is probably some of his best and prominent work. Some people believe that that was the only thing he did good for Ghana. And I'm not saying I'm one of those people. I haven't really looked into it, and I don't play the political game that well. But it's something that I know, and it was my opportunity to interface with him and his government. That's how I was able to interface with him and his government, was through this diaspora and through, again, being a clean, acceptable vehicle, allowing the Holy Spirit to work through me, which put me in that position to do that. It was important for him to do. You made this maiden call home, and you really changed the landscape of black people around the world coming back to Africa. You helped to reinvigorate the movement of back to Africa by saying, come home. The Year of Return helped to do that. It helped to reinvigorate it. So it was necessary to make it real. And what other way to make it real than paper?
But you know, it's not only black folks that got citizenship. There's Lebanese, there's...
Yes, but, so I saw this video floating around. Everybody's pissed off. Who are these 300 white people that got citizenship after the black people got their citizenship?
Yeah.
Let me talk to the Negroes for a minute. I love y'all, and I love my people. Most of those people went through the proper process for naturalization.
Stayed here for a number of years.
They were legal residents for 5 years or more. They filled out the application. They had a guarantor. They had their bank statements. And they were waiting 7, 10, 11, 12 years. I'm sure they had to probably pay some money to advocate. But all of that is Ghana's legal naturalization process. They weren't given citizenship. We were given citizenship.
I like that.
So instead of looking at that and seeing a negative thing like, oh, they gave these white people citizenship, they made the Lebanese and all of these other people earn it. But I guess that was our reparations in some way. As opposed to making you be a legal resident for 5 years to do this, and this, all you got to do is be from the African diaspora. And essentially, don't fuck up your interview. It was simple. Get a police report, drop it off. When it's time for the interview, come do your interview. The only way you didn't get citizenship if you interviewed is if you messed up your interview somehow. Maybe you were nervous, maybe you had something in your police report, maybe something. But 524 is a pretty random number. It's not like they were like, we're going to stop at 524. You know, and then you had to be here. You had to physically be here. Well, why do I got to be here? So it's something, you know, it was like people was worried about the dates. When are the dates going to be? How do you sign up? It was all of that. And over the course of, like I said, 2023, I got my citizenship in 2022. 2023 and 2024 one of the things that we did with the African American Association of Ghana. And, you know, I'm so thankful to the members for, number one, electing me as president for the 2 years that they did. And I'm so thankful to my team and the board members and everybody that worked with me to accomplish the things that we did over the past 2 years, including basically doubling our membership, including the 524 Ghana citizens. But we've been able to, with the association, lobby and get the Diaspora Affairs Office and others to look and see the diaspora organizations as a resource for them to work with and through. So when this citizenship call came for the 524, they sent notices to the diaspora organizations in Ghana and saying, hey, we're going to do a citizenship run. Bring your members. There were some people who didn't get it in 2019. There were some people who didn't get it in 2022 who had signed up. There were some people who didn't get it in 2019, 2022, or 2024.
Yeah, and they said, because the leaders kept that information.
The what?
The leaders.
Which leaders?
The diaspora leaders.
That we kept the information from who?
I had people who came and they were like, oh, you know, I didn't know it about a week before the event, the day of the event. I'm like,
when did we know? That's what's crazy about it. How we keeping information that we don't know? So one of the things that I made sure as the president of the African American Association when they listed is we put everything out in a PDF and we were very clear about the information that we received and what the processes were going to be. And some of that was like, we don't know the next step. When we know, we'll let you know. Now what happens automatically is somebody get their feelings hurt. Somebody missed a deadline. Somebody didn't get their citizenship. So now it's, oh, the leaders kept the information. What do we have to gain by keeping little old you? We don't even know if you're going to make it in Ghana. Who are you that we want to keep out? What have you done? I don't even know your name. I have nothing against you. So what would we do to keep you out? When our goal, as stated in our mission, is to help as many African Americans as possible reintegrate into Ghana smoothly, and we were interested in getting as many as possible. The challenge is, if you were not a part of the association, this is where it hit people in the ass. Excuse my language, pause. This is where it hit people in the head. See, you didn't value that organization before then, so you didn't value that membership. So because you didn't value that membership, you weren't on the platform and you didn't get the email, you didn't get the text because it went out to our membership.
Interesting. But 524, it could have been more.
It could have been more, but that has to do with the capacity, the organization, the logistics. Let me tell you something right now. I'm going to say this in front of the whole world, and some people are going to laugh. 50% of the problems on the continent of Africa can be solved if we just stop trying to organize ourselves using Microsoft Word and use Excel or adequate databases. You can't follow up. If you had people from 2019 that came on 6 different lists, how do you know who those people are that didn't get it if you ain't got a way to track them? 2022, how do you is it a paper? Is it a folder with a sheet of paper with checks off that says these are the people that didn't get it? 524. How do you track? What is your system? What is your process? This is how one of the ways how diasporans can help when we come, because like when we start clapping and our necks start moving, we're going to get you together. And most of us have that training. My particular training is public administration. I was just telling one of my staff, I said, see, I started at the bottom. Thank you very much to Miss Grace Mack. Miss Grace Mack made me alphabetize file cabinets. She made me learn how to use FileMaker Pro on a Macintosh 2E. To understand organization. You can't move people. You can't move logistics. You can't do things in an efficient manner unless it's organized, unless you can track it, unless you can do this, unless you can do that. And if it's one critique, and if it's one piece of constructive criticism that I hope the new government can make sure in that Diaspora Affairs Office is maybe enlist some help of some diasporans who not only have the capacity, and let me say this, it's not just diasporans. You got your local Ghanaians who have the capacity too, but who not only have the capacity, have the knowledge, the wherewithal, and the experience of dealing with their own people. It's not just one diaspora, bro. You have first generation diasporans. These are Ghanaians who left Ghana for greener pastures. You have second generation diaspora. These are their children who were born outside of Ghana because their parents left Ghana for greener pastures. You have the historical diaspora. That's people like me. I call us boat Africans because we got there on a boat. We were as a result of the transatlantic slave trade.
So you agree it happened? Because people say that it didn't happen.
What, the slave trade didn't happen? Just like the flat earth people. I'm not dealing with those people. Okay, we're not going to talk about them. Let's not bring that into this situation. All right, I disagree. Right, I'm not going to say that they're wrong. I'm just going to say that I disagree. We can agree to disagree. All y'all people who believe in flat earth and all y'all people who believe that the slave trade didn't happen.
I had a gentleman.
Y'all go, we can agree to disagree, but we can eat fufu together.
One more before we move away from that topic. Someone came, he is an African-American gentleman. He came to Elmina or Cape Coast, one of these dungeons. And then he's like, this whole thing looks theater, is it like theater?
Like theater.
Like theater to him. And he doesn't, not feel what he was supposed to feel. He thinks everything is just like it's
performative.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well,
as some of the group you brought ever mentioned anything like that?
No. It may feel performative because it's been preserved. You can't preserve a historical monument in place and leave it in the same condition that it was when it was used to create some of the most horrific atrocities that's happened to mankind. So you can't have that dungeon and figure out, how do I leave the stench of 6 months of death, menstrual period, human feces, urine, and sweat in the room so you can walk in and see what it felt like? You can't. Who can do that? You have to preserve the dungeon so that people can continue to see it. So it can feel performative. I do think that many continental Africans and Ghanaians need some assistance when analyzing, talking about, and viewing the transatlantic slave trade. Number one, we got to stop saying slaves. Nobody's a slave. You were enslaved or captured or kidnapped. Language is important. The other thing that I think that continental Africans and Ghanaians need to help us with is, many of us, we come here, yes, we want to go to the dungeon, we want to see what happened, but that's also a very small part of our history. So this was an interruption of our history, not our history. A lot of us want to come here and find out, what happened before colonization? You can go see that at Manchia Palace. You can learn that in the Ashanti Kingdom. But what about Ga people? Where's that Ga museum that says this is what we were from 1300 to 1500 and how we were? Where's that history? Where's that history maintained? So a lot of us kind of want to get more into pre-colonial era and even more post-colonial era. What I will tell you is that Ghana can do a 100% better job of historical preservation and the care of its monuments, its museums, and those places. 100% better. Looking at some of the things that I've seen in Cameroon, Nigeria, and other countries, and when I look at the way Ghana kind of takes care of some of its things like that, its museums and things, it's horrible. It definitely can use some help. I don't know if it's a financing thing. I don't know if it's a capacity thing. I don't know if it's a care thing. But some of the things that I've seen in my travels in West Africa put what I've seen here to shame. I feel like some of the things that I've seen in the National Museum, I can go get a 9th grade class from Duke Ellington Library Arts, and then they can do an exhibit better than some of the things that I've seen.
In Ghana?
Yes. Some other African countries too.
What African country you've seen that you thought? Senegal?
No, Senegal's pretty good. Some of the things I've seen in Nigeria, but Nigeria, I've seen the bottom and the top. The J.K. Randall Museum in Nigeria is incredible. Incredible. That talks about Yoruba people. It's incredible. Its use of technology. The Fumban Museum in Cameroon and the Fumban Kingdom is incredible. The way it's curated, the way it's done nice, neatly. Somebody committed the funds to do it. It's incredible, whether it's a private citizen or the government. So I've seen some down and I've seen some up, but I'm talking about Ghana because this is where I live now. This where I'm based at, right? And it's where I'm bringing my energy and my resources to. So I would like to see some of this changed around me because this is also the feedback that I get from the tons of people that I bring here.
You are a visionary. You see things before other people do. You saw what Year of 10 could be and advised what the right people, and it became what it is. What is it that you're seeing now, 5-10 years, that everybody else is not seeing, but that is what will become? Speaking about even what this 524 individuals, what this number triggers within this diaspora transition and the Year of 10, what does that trigger for the next 5-10 years?
So what's happening is, so you're always going to have the spirit and the motion of the people, and then you're going to have what the government decides to do with that. All right, I'm gonna say something now that I want people to understand. The year of return was not as much an effort of the Ghanaian government to bring people home as much as it was the longing, the will, and the push from people that wanted to come home. Okay? There's a difference between the work you do to bring us home and how much we want to come home.
Elaborate on that more.
So we just needed an invitation. So if the invitation gets the bulk of the credit, so be it. But the coming was because we've been wanting to come, right? As a part of the pitch to the Ghanaian government for the year of return, one of the first things I said is, come to the U.S. with me and let me show you that black people want to come home.
Really? So Year of Return as an entity goes to America, would you?
I took the Ghana Tourism Authority to the U.S. in March of 2018 on a 3-state tour to talk about something at the time that was called Homecoming 2019. It wasn't fully flushed out, but it was an effort to get on the ground in America and talk to groups of black people. How do I know that? Because I organized the whole thing.
Interesting.
So I took the Ghana Tourism Authority to the U.S. in March of 2018, right after I brought the Backyard Band from D.C. here. I had a whole go-go band here. We performed in the Dungeon, performed at Labadi Beach in partnership with the Ghana Tourism Authority. And after that, I was able to convince them to come to the United States. Let me put this together for you. Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago. I wanted to do more cities, but I was happy for what I got. Because they needed to go with somebody who knew the community.
What difference did that make?
It's the thing that helped them see it would work. Even though it was only 3 states, after that tour was really when it was like, yo, we need to do this. Because I had been knocking on the door saying, yo, 400 years, and you have to do it this year. You can't do 401, you can't do 405, you can't do 410, can't do 420. 400 hits. 400 years is in the Bible. 400 years is HR 1242, right? African American Experience Act that was signed into law by Donald Trump. And, you know, I had to kind of guilt trip him a little bit. You mean tell me you're going to let Donald Trump recognize this and the African country can't? What kind of fraganagle, sugar honey iced tea? What kind of stuff is this, right? It was a whole bunch of things that lined up. So like I said, When you become a clean, acceptable, and responsible vehicle and allow the Holy Spirit to work through you, you will be put in positions, given the words and given the message to help usher things through. And I didn't get paid for it. It wasn't a contract. They didn't write me a check to do it. They paid for them to go. And I used my own money and my energy and efforts to shepherd them along the way, because I knew that it was a part of my journey. I knew that it was something that I had to do. I knew that I wasn't serving two masters. I knew that I was doing something that was a part of, that was a way for me to honor my ancestors for their sacrifice. I got y'all, Uncle Lindo, Aunt Isabel, Uncle Jake, Aunt Margaret. These are people in my family. The best way for me to honor you is to do this work.
That will bring them back home.
That will bring more of your people back home, because you couldn't make it.
So then how do you feel when you hear people say that not all this... Our people, African Americans, are meant to come back home. They're not! But then how do you... This is the reality of it. These are our lives. These are our brothers. These are...
The Honorable Marcus Garvey said, and I'm going to paraphrase, I'm not interested in taking all black people back to Africa, because many are going to be no good there the same way they're no good here.
And he's been exonerated.
And he's been exonerated. So I don't believe everybody should come, but guess what? You got to start somewhere. What we needed to do was open the gates. We needed people to put Africa on a to-do list and take it off a bucket list. A bucket list is maybe I get a chance to do this before I die. A to-do list is intentional. I'm going next year. We needed to shorten the distance. We needed to help people understand the difference between the passport and the visa. Many of them didn't. They didn't know you needed a visa. They thought you could just get on the plane and come. We've we've continued and are doing our job the same way that the people behind us did their job. So it's not perfect. How can it be perfect? Look at the situation. Ghana just got independence in 57. In 57. That's right around the corner. It's not that long ago. So it can't be perfect, but it's a start. So everybody has to have some level of patience with the start, and they have to have some level of patience with the process. And you have to have some level of faith that the system will kind of cleanse itself. People will definitely get weeded out. Because if there's one thing I know about Ghanaians and Ghanaian culture, is that you will take your time and know somebody. And somebody will think they're fooling you, and the whole time you're watching. You will take the time to see who's learning the culture, who's authentic, who actually cares. But then we already talked about it. Half of you is trying to get me too. Right? Half of you is trying to get me. And so it's 2025, bro. This is one thing I'll tell you. And I want you to think about this. 2025 is the last year of the first quarter of this century. It's the first 25 years of this century. I want you, and I want everybody watching, to do some research in history. Go look at the first 25 years of 1900. The first 25 years of 1900 changed the face and the trajectory for black people in America. The Boys was a part of that. The Talented 10th. Black Greek organizations was a part of that. Shouts out to the brothers, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Right? Look at the first 25 years of 1900
Tell us what
to 2025. Omega Psi Phi was founded, number one. Right? All of these black Greek organizations were founded. The educational level and foundation and the importance of education for black people was founded. It set the stage. How do you think America won World War I and World War II?
How do they mean that?
Black people. Also, it was very crucial in a time where America was in a transition, moving from an agrarian economy to an industrial economy. And you have to have educated people to do that. How do you think America has survived? It was us. But that particular time period, so many instances in history, you can look and see where black people saved. Think about all of the inventions that happened, like the traffic light, the Chujan. Look at the years that look at that time period in history. Look at what happened between 1800 to 1825, 1700 to 1725, 1600 to 1625. The first 25 years of every century has set the tone for the next 75 years.
So what is the correlation with what is happening in 2025?
Black people are returning home. Africans are returning home, one way or another. And it will continue to shape itself. This movement will continue to select and form its own leaders based on people's commitment. I ain't gonna be here forever, but I'm gonna do my job while I'm here. But I know that, again, because I'm a spiritually grounded person, and you can't keep saying you believe in God and not trust God's timing. How you a preacher, or how you somebody, you read the Bible, you make salat, whatever you do, you believe all of this stuff about God, but you don't believe in God's timing. You don't believe that everything was measured and intentional in some way or another. You understand what I'm saying? So what I believe is that with the ending of this year and everything that happened from 2019, the fact that 400 years happened in the first 25 years, right? 400 years happened within the first 25 years. The fact that, look at what's happening with many of these African nations. Even look at what's happening with Trump becoming America-centered, America first. Now, finally, it's actually helped African nations become Africa first, especially once you pull the funding. Not that I agree with the pulling of all of the funding and all of this, but now you got to look at your resources. Look at what's happening with the Sahel states. They thought they killed Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso when they killed him, and now look what you have. Robert Harris said, we baby's kids. We don't die, we multiply. You can't stop this. We took your best shot with the transatlantic slave trade. If you ain't wipe us out then, you lost your chance. You understand what I'm saying? So now Africans are coming home. We're becoming more conscious. We're saying that there are other options outside of America. We're saying that you can do things differently. Because now, beyond this, I mean, damn, in America, it's illegal to grow your own food in places. Think about, what the hell? Why would you make it illegal for me to grow my own food? What kind of thing is that? Why would it make, so if I want collard greens and kale,
you can't do that.
And I want to grow some in my backyard, and some places it's illegal. Why do you want to force everybody to use genetically modified foods? Why do you want to force it? You got to ask yourself, why are you forcing these things? It's one thing to say you can choose.
And this is what I always say, that we love systems. These are systems in America. And we come here and we complain about systems so much without understanding that when we push that so much, it would come a time where everything is regulated. And then the proper freedom, you don't have it anymore.
Right.
I said this. Everybody comes here, the Chinese, everybody else, other ethnicities, come here when there's no system, come here and thrive.
Because they bring their system with them.
Exactly. And someone actually said that it's because most of African Americans or diasporans coming are not actually entrepreneurs, but they're employees. And that's what I want to ask you. What is the truth? Is there any truth in this subject that I just said?
I think so. I don't think that most people have had the opportunity to become entrepreneurs in America. So a true entrepreneur, because for the most part, you've had to survive. So you didn't have the option of figuring it out. You didn't have the option of choosing profit over wages. You got kids to feed. And the opportunities were not made available to you. But that, again, that's why the tides are turning. Because we've always been great at making lemonade out of lemons, So now the more of us that can come to Africa and engage in their entrepreneurial spirit that's in them, it's in their DNA, whether it's buried and dormant or whether it's uncovered and active. The entrepreneurial spirit is in your DNA. It is.
How do they uncover that?
Call me and let me bring you to Africa.
Yeah.
Call me and let you feel the freedom of the breeze of the Aquiapin Mountain and the cold coconut water on the road. Like, no, but seriously.
No, yeah.
The way that you do that is you have to engage in something different. You have to try something different.
I've heard an African American say that Ghana forced them to be an entrepreneur.
I tell people all the time, I've been saying it for the past 5 years, you don't move here to get a job, you move here to create jobs. Number one, the salary that you're going to get here is not going to be satisfactory to your lifestyle. You're not going to be able to make the amount of money that you want to. Me and you have talked about this in general outside of just making money to support your business and doing the things that you want to do. The market won't bear it. It just is not here yet. I mean, I was just talking, and damn, $1 is almost 20 CDs. Yeah. Crazy.
It goes a long way here.
It goes a long way here. But for the African American, then it goes longer. Because you're thinking in dollars. So you're automatically used to spending $1. So you're used to spending $1 and getting 1/10 of the value of what 20 CDs will get you. So we really got to talk about, and people, when people come here, they really have to understand the difference between the value of the money in terms of its relationship to the other currency and the value of the money in terms of what it can do for you on the street. It's a difference.
How do you use your own project as an example? What you've been able to mount here in this village, would you have been able to do the same in America with the same budget?
No. Zoning laws alone, material costs, workers, no, bro, no. Hapana, dabby. No.
Yeah.
Nah.
It wouldn't work.
I personally wouldn't be able to do this. What I would have had to go through to do this is I would have to, if I did, I would have did it there. I mean, I still have 4 studios at home that we rent. That before I left and came here, I created a plan that I wanted to knock out the walls, build them up, this, that, and the third. In America, you got to pay for airspace in some places. You know what that means?
The more you build up?
Yes. So you buy a piece of land and you can only build up 3 stories, and anything over 3 stories, maybe you got to add $50,000 per story because the airspace has a value.
But here you can build as tall as you want.
Man, shit is my land. It's God's air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless GRA is God's, unless GRA is collecting money for God.
Yeah.
So you have some levels of freedom in things here that you're able to do that you can come and take advantage of, whether you're taking advantage of it for yourself or whether you're taking advantage of it for other people's. But I want to say that because I think that's important. Slavery was an economic institution, and a part of reversing that is the economy. Like, I really wouldn't say things like this out loud before, but I would say it to certain friends of mine. Yeah. So a part of retribution, a part of reversing slavery, a part of getting back to who you think we were or who you think you are supposed to be is getting money. Like 50 Cent, get money. Not just get money to get money, but a part of what your destiny has to be, not has to be, a part of what my destiny is abundance and wealth. God didn't put me here to suffer. That's not in the cards for me. It's never been there for me. It's been put here for me to leave something for my family and to live a little bit differently. So when you start talking about reparations and you start talking about what's coming back to you for what your people endured, then some people see that one way. I see it in every way. So a big part of being able to come here and take advantage, and I'm going to use that very carefully, take advantage of the exchange rate and take advantage of the opportunities that are here when you come and you bring your entrepreneurial spirit is spiritual. I'm supposed to look good, smell good, and feel good. I'm not supposed to be downtrodden. Why? Who says that that's what I'm supposed to be? And what makes you more of a revolutionary than me because you dusty? What makes you more of a revolutionary than me because you broke? Now, it's different if you've chosen not to participate in the capitalist system because this, that, and the third, and you want to be a, socialist and this, and all the money that you make or comes to you, you give it all away to, and I honor you. That's dope. Me, I don't give it all away, but I give enough. I help. You can come here and see my community, and when you walking with me, you see people know me, they appreciate me, they respect me, not because I'm bribing them, but because of what I'm bringing to the community, because of the value that I'm bringing. And there's nothing wrong with having that entrepreneurial spirit because I'm taking the risk.
I know you don't speak a lot about what you have going on, but you have a lot going on. You literally bought a whole resort with your team, and I didn't know until now. Please tell me, what has been the project you've been working on over the years? What are you working on now, and what are some of the things even in your pipeline that viewers should watch out, even partnership I have no idea about. Even if you're open to that, let's just
Yeah, so a few things. One, my partners and I, it's a broad concept that we're still refining, my brothers and my sisters. And I say my brothers and my sisters, not blood brothers and sisters, but I'm with a group of people who have chosen to be together, not because they need each other, but because they want each other. Everybody has the power to do their own thing and continue to go their own way. But it's a group of brothers and sisters who believe in being on a continent and who want to be together. We want to be together. So there are a number of hotels in Senegal, Medina Bay Residencies, Casa S, in Ghana, Chateau Nana Walene in Chado, and Oasis Beach Resort, and we're here at the Breed in Yame Betchere. So this, real estate business, and when you meet any wealthy people, they always say you start with real estate. But not only that, with real estate, it's a part of infrastructure, right? And we need infrastructure. We need better customer service. What better to do that than to build your own and model it? Than to have a space where, since you're also inviting your people home, they could come to. So those are some of the projects that we've been working on that side from those kind of business deals. But for me, one of the things that's close to my heart is what I'm doing right here in Yame Betchere. Because you see a little piece of what's happening here that we're almost finished, but when you look at the view, I own the 5 to 7 acres behind us on a mountain. Beautiful. Another 3 or 4 acres here. So some of what we have planned for ecotourism resorts and things like that we've been working on, and just really because it's still self-funded right now, is to get some of these things finished and up here. For me, the biggest project that I have working on right now that I actually will release this year, because like you said, I'm humble, I'm quiet, I don't talk much about what I have going on. But this year I've decided that I'm actually going to open some of my projects to investors, people who are interested in investing, long-term investment, people who believe in community development, and people who also believe in good, clean business, people who believe in leaving the least amount of carbon footprint as possible when you're doing real estate, people who believe in building and living green, farm to table, durable, self-sustainable community development. It has to be something that you really believe in because it's long-term. About it. Yes. But I've noticed a trend of a lot of people selling real estate in Ghana and selling housing developments. But I don't see a lot of community development. So what we're doing is we're currently engaged in completing the master plan development for the entire Yame Betchere community, which includes roads, which includes lights, which includes schools. It includes what percentage of the entire town could be green space. It includes which areas are reserved for educational properties, which areas are reserved for commercial, agricultural, industrial. And all of these things will help bring jobs to this particular community because a rising tide raises all ships, right? And we want to do it with a high level of intention where we just don't displace people or gentrify towns, because that's one of the things that many of us are running from in places like Washington, D.C. is gentrification. So you have to ask yourself the question, and you have to take the effort to think and be creative to figure out, if I got a group of people, because the only people who can do it are people who can afford to do it, number one.
Yeah.
So we got to be creative about the people who can't afford to do it. How do we help them get property, move here, come visit and see that? I'm working on something right now called Ghana for the Low, which is helping people come to Ghana for a much lower cost. On budget. But there's a lot of research and care that has to be done with that so they still have a good experience, because we want those people to come. But not only that, as I was saying, with regards to what we're doing here in terms of the community development, it's very difficult to take a group of people making $150,000 a year and put them with a group of people making $15,000 a year and expect for displacement not to happen, right? It's going to happen. So if you want to do that, you have to be intentional. The other thing that we're doing with this is, as opposed to just trying to go get 30 acres of land, we're coming into existing communities with models for community and business development that this year I'll share much of what we're doing and how we're doing it with the public, and encourage and want to introduce other champions to go do that with existing communities that exist, not just bare land. And it's not people who do it, they do it.
Integrating with the local community.
Yes, it's integrated with the local community. That's how you learn the culture. That's where the magic is. That's where the fun is. That's where the essence is. That's where the spirit is. I mean, I guess I could have a community for just African Americans and diasporans alone, a gated community. There's nothing wrong with that. Shouts out to Earn Your Leisure, my brother Shaka Bars, my brother Alvin in Sandbur City. I love what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Neil with the Heritage 100. I love what he's doing. Shouts out to my sister Natasha with Aquia Properties. She's helping to facilitate a lot of these things and moving people around. Shouts out to my own team. So there are people that are doing these things, but I think God put it on my heart, and it's my responsibility to model and show how you can do this inside of an existing community, number one, and then how this can be modeled and taken to other communities. Because like I told you, when I told you about the first 25 years. So this is the age of the diaspora. Over the next 25 years, I guarantee you, you're going to see more black people returning to Africa than you ever have, because the world has lost their cotton picking mind. Telling me I can't grow my own food? When you start some shit like that, that's war. You can't grow your own food. Now, too many people are about to say, yo, Africa's an option. It's a real life option that can be taken advantage of. Now, how do I do it, right? First they're gonna be like, call 901. I get that a lot. I'm just telling you, I get that a lot. Yeah. You'll meet people, call Diallo, call Diallo. So, but to formalize it, put it into place, so, and you know, you'll be able to show some of your viewers as we walk through our community, the land that we've purchased, the housing developments that are coming up. We're doing some rammed earth eco-sustainable building. We're doing some stuff with containers. We already have a school. The community center is built right in front of the school, so that people moving into the community or interested to move into the community has a place with strong Wi-Fi. Say what you want about Elon Musk, but we got to keep Starlink satellite.
I saw that. You have 3 or 4 of those.
It's a few of them, but we got to keep that.
Yeah.
Say what you want about them until you give me another option. Yeah. I got to keep that because we need to connect. But you have the community center in front of the school. So now everybody who goes to that school gets access to this community center, right? Right next to the community center, I bought the land to make sure I could put a high school and a vocational 2-year kind of program school right next to it. Those are the things that become the foundation of a community. So most people, I'm not trying to flip houses and make $1 million. When I die, I want everybody to say, yo, he built his own city. Like that. Not even built his own city, but he took a community with him and raised the whole town up and grew it from 1,500 people to 25,000 people. And now it's a self-sustaining, thriving city in Ghana. And it's a model for how this could happen all over Africa with other communities when the diaspora comes with intention, with reflection, with patience, with understanding, and some money.
That means you're choosing and picking who qualifies for that.
And some money, right? Because say what you want is not going to happen without money. Yeah. I always tell my people in the diaspora this: like it or not, we are the grassroots stimulus package. We care the most. We tip the most. We notice everything because, again, we've been longing to come home and be wanted. We've been longing. This is not about, because now we know that the diaspora is a buzzword. Every country now, Sierra Leone just redid their program. It's about to launch really soon. And pretty much any black person may be able to get citizenship in Sierra Leone. I just had some conversations in Nigeria. We're working on that with AfricanAncestry.com. So whether it's by DNA, whether it's by culture, whether it's by this, Africa's beginning to wake up and see that the only way that you can be independent beyond aid is with your children. Go to the diaspora. Go there. Help, give them, it's going to take some time, but it's possible in small doses and small pieces to help change generation after generation. Because me, I'm thinking about 9 generations deep, and most people may only be thinking about the next 20 years.
9 generations?
Why not? When you look at the Jews do it, the Chinese do it, the Lebanese do it. They don't even have to think about it anymore. They're on subconscious automatic. Their priority is the Chinese. The Lebanese priority is the Lebanese, period. The Korean priority is the Korean. They don't have to think, am I my own priority? They don't have to work towards becoming their own priority. They are their own priority. It's apparent.
But we get in our feelings and we say, okay, we brought 5 billion to Ghana 2019 because we came home and we are looked as cash cows.
Well, first of all, you didn't bring 5 billion, number one. People need to understand how those numbers are calculated. It didn't come to Ghana. It went to the hotels. It went to the airlines. It went to the restaurants. Now, if you want to calculate maybe how much actually came to Ghana, calculate the VAT. Calculate the various taxes on that money. Then that's the money that, if they paid it, is supposed to go to the government. But that general number is how much was spent. So what most people do is confuse that value with the cash value that the country received, and they shouldn't. However, what they can say is, what did we do with this $3.2 billion spending that hit the country, and how are we able to leverage the fact that that many people spent money coming here? The airlines definitely leveraged it because prices to Africa ain't going down no more. Delta, no. United, no. We don't have to drop prices because they're going to pay for it. And they not. They raising them. So it's, the country has to kind of figure out now, it's a new, it's a new president. Congratulations to President John Mahama. In D.C., they won fair and square, landslide victory. So it's up for us to now see how they are going to work with the diaspora. You know what's interesting? Muhammad was the first to give citizenship.
What was it called?
In 2016.
Yeah, there was a different name for it.
I forget.
Afro something.
I forget what it was called, but he was the first to give citizenship. Not the first, because I'm sure it happened with Nkrumah. Nkrumah probably was the first with Du Bois. And there's this document that I saw on WhatsApp that really goes back to like Liberia and Sierra Leone, that kind of talks about the history of black people coming home, just so we know that it ain't about 2019, which of course most people who know history know. But it's really, so we'll see. Like, I haven't seen, and I think it's right. Like, you got to deal with home first. And I think that's what they're doing. That's what it looks like they're doing. I mean, we're not even 90 days into his term. So, he's making his appointments. I see that there's a new Ghana CEO for Ghana Tourism Authority. There's a new Minister of Tourism. There's a new Deputy Minister of Tourism. There's a new CEO for Ghana Tourism Development Company. And these are the major roles that manage the tourism industry in Ghana, right? You have the private industry, GATOF, Ghana Tourism Federation. You have, so I'm a member of GATOF. Like, I'm inside, bro. I'm inside the network, bro. Like, I'm here. The same way when I was home, I was inside of what was happening in D.C. So, we'll see what's going to happen. We'll see if the Beyond the Return is going to happen. Shouts out to my sister Annabelle McKenzie, who's the director of the Beyond the Return office. That office is still open. It's not closed. They didn't close the Beyond the Return office when the new party came in. I haven't seen that they've gotten rid of the Office of Diaspora Affairs. Maybe it will be new people, but You know, shouts out to my sister, Nadia Finn, Mr. Abavio, Mr. Kwesi Ajman. These are all of the people from the former government that I worked with who are no longer in their positions, but who really helped set the stage for what is possible now. And these are people who trusted me with managing, in the beginning at least, which has become their biggest program, and partnered with me for 8 years on various initiatives. So I want to acknowledge them. So I think the future is bright. I don't think that it's going to slow down. I think that Dirty December is going to continue to be dirty, right? Like you like, yo, when you go out, I'm like, I don't go out a lot. I go out in December. You will see me standing on couches. In December, I'm like this. I'm like this in December. We popping bottles. Right? I'm like this in December. We popping bottles in December, bro. Right? Because it's the end of the year. We got to celebrate, right? We got to celebrate. That's what we're doing when we hit the clubs. Because all year we've worked really well. I've seen you out a couple times. You see me like, yo, bro, what you doing with this section? But for the whole, what we working, it's a part of life, bro. Like most people, we have to give ourselves permission to be everything we are at the same time.
You mentioned your culture, your lifestyle as an African American. It's always going to be with you.
Always going to be with me. I'm trying to get some funds together now to bring the Backyard Band back. If I get the bread, they coming for my birthday.
When is that?
I mean, you could Google me and find out, but I don't mind telling you it's November 4th.
Okay, cool.
It's November 4th, Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. I'm gonna just send you my Cash App, my Momo number, and all that. So when you do the edit, put that put that in the lower third and tell everybody to send me some cash on my birthday.
I like that. I mean, you've done great here on the continent, and I think people watching have seen that. You know, even people behind the scenes. I mean, all this big name you mentioned, they are all political leaders in the government and are working, serving the nation. You've worked side by side with them. Private
industry too. I do a lot of work with Kopinski. I give Kopinski the blues. I do a lot of work with Moving Pick. I give Moving Pick the blues. So not only just the government, but the hotels, right? The hotels make money. They get good money from me through my business. The restaurants, the clubs. Shout out to my brothers Kenny and Abdul with Afro Future. Every year I'm 3-4 tables in, right? You know what I'm saying? On both days or one day. They're not cheap tables, but it's me being able to source what my clients want. Also me directing them to this is how you're gonna have the best experience.
I like that. Before we wrap up, obviously we'll go look around the community, see what you have going on. Before we wrap up, what would be a message to the audience and to the diasporans in general?
Just one message?
As many as you want.
Wow, how are you gonna end like that? Well, I'll say this. One, I want to say thank you, because I know that I get a lot of support and encouragement that I don't always see. I'm not necessarily the best with responding to DMs on Instagram, although I see them most of the times and I will respond. I want to say thank you for the prayers and encouragement. The ones that I do see, there are a lot of people who say thank you. You're doing so much for our people. I appreciate it. I want to say thank you to my friends and family and my colleagues in this industry of tourism, repatriation, and the whole Black Back to Africa movement across West Africa, and the travel movement who, you know, give me, who share trade secrets, who give me support, who help me get business. Naturally, all of the people who may see this, who have traveled with us, done some kind of business or work with us. So I want to just first say thank you to them. And last but certainly not least, my family and my team. I am the pretty face in front of a lot of people who work to make this happen. I take that responsibility seriously, that I represent not just my family, but them too. And the other thing that I would say is, you know, thank you for trusting me and choosing me as a leader, because I wouldn't be here with you right now for a second interview if your listeners didn't request it, right? They found it engaging. They found it, they like, yo, go back and talk to him. So I hope they feel the same spirit, but see something different here. And what I will tell you is that I promise you from here on out, you'll hear more from me. And now that I've securely stepped into this role that has been obviously meant for me to be one of these leaders, I'm going to do that to the best of my ability, you know? And we work hard and we party hard. So I hope, you know, oh, I'll say one more thing.
Yeah.
November 4th, 2025 is my 50th birthday. So if you are watching this and you are planning to come to Africa or Ghana, this year, I'm doing 2 celebrations. One, the week of my birthday in this community of Yame Betre. We're just gonna spend a week here with my people here on my actual birthday. And then in December, going into January of this year for the new year, I'm celebrating my birthday. And just come pop out with me. You definitely gonna need some money. We're probably gonna go to 2 or 3 countries. Trust me, you know, I'm working on this whole 48 to 72 hour party between Ghana and Nigeria. Something different. I got some new programs coming, some new partnerships coming this year, not only for domestic tourism, but helping people once they come to Ghana, move around West Africa, get comfortable in more countries, and just having Africa become so comfortable for them. But yeah, man, holla at me. You can follow me on Instagram at TheReal901. Our website is www.theadinkagroup.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Diallo Sumbry. You can Google me. My shoe size is a size 13 to 47. If anybody want to buy me some nice expensive shoes that I won't buy for myself, I'm a size XL, XX. I'll put my Zelle number, my Cash App, my Momo. You know, y'all want
I'll do that, guys. So make sure you donate some things. And let's send a message to the people who are scared of the ICE in America right now that Trump has installed in America, that is kicking out diasporans who doesn't have the proper documentation, or even people that is feeling that it's left a bad taste in their mouth and they don't even feel welcome in America. Send that final message to you.
I mean, I would tell them to keep their head up, do your best to get legal. I'm not saying, I wouldn't be the one to tell you to just come on back home because you obviously don't want to be here. So I would say do your best to get legal so you can be comfortable where you are. You can hit me up. I know a couple of really good immigration attorneys in the U.S. and I'll give you their information. But I will say that if you do wind up coming back home or having to come back home, you know, keep your head up, engage with the right people, and use your experience that you've had out there to help raise people up here, to help raise your communities up here. I hope you stay safe. My prayers go out to you and your family if you're experiencing any discomfort or anything that may not be in total peace and harmony.
I like that. Thank you so much for talking to me. I appreciate it. Guys, it's been a wonderful conversation and I know you guys enjoyed it. His information is on the screen and also in the description. Reach out to him. And subscribe. I think YouTube told me 80% of you guys watch and enjoy the episode to the T, but forget to subscribe. So please use this as an opportunity to just click it. Turn on your post notification and come back for more amazing content. All right, so without further ado, let's just say bye-bye to the people watching. All right.
So here, remember before when I mentioned about different housing developments? So inside of this community, so here I have this land, right? Walk with me this way. I'm gonna show you something. You'll see posts like this. Now you can see that post. What does that post say? 901. So if he catches that post, but I want to show you something. Oops.
I see.
You'll see the same thing here. It's on the inside though. You'll see they wrote 901 on it. So here, this land that's going this way, even some of the part where they've taken the sand, we bought this for a while.
I see.
So when we talk about putting up a building, putting up a community, this is going to be directly inside of a community. And as a result of me being here, being the chief of development, from the community center to this, those buildings have been built. So we'll walk up there and take a look at this. But all of this over here, some of this, the land?
This one, yeah.
I think this one is 2.5 acres.
Okay.
So, like, all of this land is not for me.
Okay.
So one of the things about being out here too is you can get land which is fairly kind of cheap. Most of the land has never been registered. So when you start, right, why? Because the families who owned it have owned it for 200, 300, 400 years, however long they owned it, and it doesn't need to be registered. And everybody out here knows, so we don't have some of them same land problems in this community. And really further out of Accra, you don't have the same, people selling land 2, 3 times, especially in small communities. Most people never thought about registering it. This community is about 5 families that own most of the land.
I see.
So if I have just a few acres here, imagine the families that own all of this. And we don't want to build it all. Some interesting things we want to do is we don't want roads everywhere. We want walkable paths. Main roads coming in, still maintaining the greenery.
Incredible.
Right, still maintaining the greenery. So, but it's like we're out here, look at this mountain ridge behind us. I mean, just look at that backdrop behind us. So we're out here and you have that, but then still you can have luxury, modern designs, nice homes, nice apartments, very nice still in design, structure, and luxury, but you're just here in peace.
I like that. Well, even though you said modern, what do you mean by modern? Is it architecture? Is like what we see in the West, or
architecture and design.
Style design?
African style architecture, design, furniture, colors, everything. So that modern look means you're not going to build a normal 1-bedroom house like you see in the village, like most of the normal houses you'll see, with the normal roof. Maybe the roof is going to be different. And then we want to do stuff like rainwater catchment and a whole bunch of other different stuff that we'll do here that most people in Accra wouldn't do.
I like that.
So even on this side of the road, when you buy land, you'll see this. Make sure you capture.
This is plot by plot, right? That's
plot by plot. You see 901, 901. So this is, they use 4. So this is 1 plot. The other thing is out here, our plots are still 100 by 100 pretty much.
I see.
Maybe most 100 by 80, but it's not that 70 by 90, 80, 70 by 80 stuff they doing in Accra. So
like
we love it out here.
It's very green. The oxygen level, I was yawning the whole time.
Yes. And if you see this is a guest house somebody's building.
The roof, the red roof.
The red roof is a guest house somebody's building. The other one is 3 houses and apartments somebody's building. This is how town develops. Somebody says, hey, I see something's happening here. Let me buy some land and build. I'm going to take you further up the street where I'll show you some open areas where other people and things that we're going to be selling. So most of the things we'll sell here are off plan. So it's going to be off plan. Well, people will be able to see the drawings, pick the design of their home, pick the location. But it's simple things that we want to do in each place. Like we definitely want to have planned water usage.
Okay, what do you mean by planned water usage?
So we don't need to necessarily have a borehole for every home. So here, what we'll do is have some community boreholes, which means we'll dig the boreholes first, and then we'll create the water towers, and we'll pre-run water lines. So even though it's off plan, so we know that we have 3 or 4 poly tanks from boreholes that have a pump that may serve 5 or 6 houses. Not, okay, each person, the normal Ghanaian thing, everybody, you get your own borehole or not.
I see.
So it's a real community. And all of this is a service community. You know, all of this is HOA. So people who come here are paying a fee to help us keep the community beautified. They're helping us do the roads because they're investing in community. How many places in Ghana you've been to where the road is crazy, nobody will fix the road?
It's beautiful. The houses are beautiful. Mansions, example, East Legon Hills.
Yes.
And the roads are horrible.
And nobody will fix the roads because nobody wants to do that. But here, we're adding that in there in order to get it done. And we're looking at ways to do it. The other thing that we'll be doing here in this community is, like I told you, we're doing our master plan. Master plan means commercial property and commercial stores. The areas that we identify for commercial stores, we want to give the people who buy here first preference to invest. So if you're buying a house here, then you're the first person that I want to come to about investing in this commercial property.
I see.
We're doing a master plan. We know the areas of the town that are going to be in demand based on what the land usage is for. We also are the ones that's going out to say, hey, this is a town of farmers, but we don't have any agricultural processing. We want somebody to come in and build an agricultural processing plant. And as a chief of development, I can work with the families that own the land that's going to specifically help get you that land at a low cost or very long lease, as long as that agricultural processing can come in and promise that it's going to process the agricultural products from this particular land and it's going to employ people from this village.
I see.
Even in our buildings, it has to employ 50% of the people from the town.
From the town, okay.
And we're pre-training and training the people. We're getting them into, if you're not already, you're either going to have an apprenticeship with an electrician, with a plumber, with a mason, or a carpenter. Very soon, I'm about to do a rammed earth workshop here so everybody can learn how to use rammed earth together.
Would that workshop be, or would that building technique be one of the things you would use?
Definitely, we want to use rammed earth. I've already done the soil test. I've already done the strength test from the Ghana Standards Authority, got that information back. So we've been engaging architects and now we're in the process. We're close. You know, I got stuff that I like to keep close to the chest and I don't like to just show everybody, but like I said, this is the year to do that. So you see, like, we got regular residents here in our town, people that come through. It's a real village. Good afternoon. Yo, Apoma. Yo, Boko. Yo.
And how important is it for people to start moving outside of Accra and developing on the outskirts rather than everybody focusing in Accra?
Well, if you're smart, this is how suburbs got created in the U.S. If you're smart, you'll do it before the land gets too expensive out here. You'll do it while the land is still fairly inexpensive, right?
I like that.
That's number one. Number two, I don't know that people have to begin to move outside of our crowd, but eventually you'll be forced to. And here, like you asked me about bringing all black people to Africa. We definitely are not interested in any and everybody coming here. I mean, nobody can stop you from buying, building a house, or doing what you want to do. But we definitely looking for families, retirees, and other people who want to come to this community and treat the people fair. We want honest people who want to come and actually help the community, not people who want to come take from the community. So, I mean, when you open it up, you don't know who you're getting, which is fine.
So that means you vet them? Are you going to vet these people who...
Well, it's not, for the particular communities that we are in charge of, it's not just, it's somewhat vetting.
Okay.
So it's not just if you have your money, you can come, but it's the questionnaires that you have to complete before you purchase, right?
Interesting.
So, but beyond just having the money, you know, are you the right profile? Is this the right kind of place for you? Because if you think about it, if it's not the right kind of place for you, you're not going to be happy here either. So we want people who know what they're getting.
And what they're looking, who exactly they're looking for this.
Yes, you're looking. I'm looking for this. I'm okay. I see that you African centered. I see that you guys believe in African history, that kind of thing. And that's what the community center looks like, and that's what you...
Do you already have the renderings of it? The animations of... Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It's not complete yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Some of it. If I did, I wouldn't give you that.
So what would be the capacity in terms of people who would, you know, be able to...
By the time, with the different kind of developments that we have here, by the time when we release our community development plan and we're opening it with 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we're opening it with 5 developments because we have some in the mountain behind the house. We have some here. We have some here, and then we have some inside the community, different ones. So we even have some, what are we calling, simple, basic Ghanaian style apartments that we're doing affordable. For local people from Koforidua or nearby who want to come move and have a place like that. Okay. I think we'll probably be able to get a few hundred people, like permanently, between 300 and 500 people. We'll be able to move into these places.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's not kind of shooting for the moon like, 1,500 people immediately, because you can grow too fast.
Do you crash?
You can grow too fast and lose control of the direction.
Or be overwhelmed.
And we don't want to do that, but we want to take the time. So this process, when we put it out, is something that we're looking at to do between now and 2030. So by the end of 2030, all of the properties and things that that you will see in our community, and I'm gonna invite you.
So it'll be completed by 2030.
Yep.
Okay.
Once we finish the community center, we're very close, and we begin our community engagement, because a big part of the community development master planning is community engagement, educating the community, helping them understand. So we have people who own a lot of land and families who own land that's never been surveyed. So we got to raise funds and help them understand why it's important for their land to be surveyed for them, and so that they trust and know that by helping us, by allowing us to help you get your land surveyed, it's not us taking your land from you. It's us surveying it under your name to protect you as the town grows.
Interesting.
And now we know who owns this land. That's how you prevent the problem that you have with litigation and land. So literally, we will have our own Yame land department. So if there's a problem in anywhere else and somebody has with land, we'll say, did you come to Yame land department? Because we know which families own which land here. And we have them pre-surveyed already. So, and we have our people who are connected to Koforidua.
Even though they might be the rightful owners, they don't have it documented, they don't have it surveyed, they don't have it registered.
It's a help to them in the community.
I see.
So now we have our people who we recommend, our surveyors and everybody who work with us here, who we recommend run your reports and searches through the Koforidua Lands Commission. See, you know that Koforidua is the administrative capital of the eastern region.
Yeah.
So the courts, the police, it's a big town, the headquarters, and we have our own lands commission. So out here, we don't have to go to Accra Lands Commission. We go to Koforidua Lands Commission. And we have our people here, a few in this town who worked there for 30 years, retired, and others, advisors, who can take you there, help you, walk you through the process.
I like that.
Nothing you got to do on your own. So when you come out here with us, and with the community center and with what we have, we're also going to be hosting, this is adjustment nights. Simple things like movie nights. So you can come out here and it's not just you moving, but you're in the community not founded because it was already a community before we came here, but you're in a community being developed and led by some diasporans who are conscious, who are community centered, and who are not just interested in your purchase of the property, but we're interested in your repatriation success. So now we want to help you with everything. If you say, listen, give me all you got, I'm going to give you my banker, my lawyer, my doctor, everybody that's here, and they'll service you the same. And you just got to make sure you treat them well. And as long as you treat them well, they'll take care of you the way they take care of me.
I like that. I like that. For free.
Yeah, I'm not charging you.
Yeah.
It's their
So
business.
allow them access to your network for free.
Yes.
Okay.
You get my network. The most valuable thing about coming out here with me is my network in a lot of ways, and protection. It's a protection by association. So.
I like that.
Yeah.
Like, let's see the community, because there's been a massive improvement compared to the last time I was here.
Yep.
Right. 8 years, you never try to help people build a community until now. Why now?
Well, it's not that I didn't try to help build a community until now.
In terms of real estate, I
was preparing.
Okay.
I was preparing. So there were a couple of things that were really important for me. One was to have my own money invested, so that people would know, okay, this is serious for him. He's invested his own money. Okay. Two was to have completed projects. So I didn't start doing
portfolio.
So I didn't start doing the building of the community center or this immediately.
Oh, I heard it. It's in Nana.
How are you?
It's in Nana.
Blah.
How old is he? Like 2 years? He doesn't want to.
It's okay. It's okay. Bye bye. Okay.
He's probably shy.
The kids like to call my name. The kids would like to call my name, but if you tell them to come, sometimes.
Yeah, I mean they're shy.
So I was saying, it's not that I'm just trying to help. I took my time. I needed to watch and see what people were doing. I didn't want to rush and start selling land. And I started. I have some friends of mine in Senior Breku. You know Senior Breku?
Yeah, I know.
And when I first came, I went to them and asked for, I think, 6 plots or acres, and they said, oh, it's too much, and then he gave me 30 acres, and I worked with them, and then I went back to the U.S. and I was trying to sell plots of land, and I sold a couple, but then I had one person trying to build a round mud hut, one person trying to build this, that, and it wasn't a community. It was just me selling land, and then I was like, yo, you can't navigate this on a 2-week visit. So I'm leading you astray if I do this without making sure I have things lined up to support you. So I stopped. I still have my land over there, and I have a couple people who bought land. I still have their indentures. It's active. They just haven't done nothing with it. So I said, well, let me wait. One, I wanted to have a place for people to sleep and stay when they came. So if you said, yes, I'm investing in Yame Vetere, and I'm going to have one of these semi-detached homes, or I'm going to have one of these apartments that are over here, I can come and physically sleep and stay at the breeding at a nice spot to see what it's like. I can come spend time in a community center. I could walk the community and see that I got choices, that I got Pinchy's Place development here, I got AC's Paradise over here, I got Gold Coast apartments up here, I got this. And I needed time for myself just to be sure.
To understand the gender process.
I needed to understand it. I needed to understand it. I needed to build my reputation. Like, I needed to do all of these things to basically get the foundation that's under me to speak with the level of confidence that I have now, that I know what I'm doing. And there are other people and friends that I've met over the time who will say, when you meet them, you know Diallo? Oh, yeah, that's a good dude. I know, yeah. Main man, good people. I like that. So now when you come, because I have people who come to Ghana all of the time, and they'll be out and they'll be like, yo, bro, everywhere I've gone and the people that I've met, they know you. Like even here, you see this?
Yeah.
You know you need sand to build, right?
It's right below.
All of this land, we have the sand.
That you use for the construction?
Yes.
So you're going to spend less on sand?
I'm going to spend less on sand, especially building with rammed earth because I'm using less cement, 90% less cement.
I see.
So this gated right here, somebody owns these 3 plots. Again, they're buying and they're planning and they're waiting because they say, we know we have an Nkoso Hene, a chief of development who's doing something. So let me make sure I'm secure. Over here, you see these houses is on the backside. Yep. Those houses on the backside are, I forget how many units he have in there, houses and apartments. He has those because, so I met this guy and I said, what made you buy in Yame Vetere, this small town? Oh, word on the street is the town will come up. It's being developed. There's this guy they call Nana One, who's the development chief, and he's doing good things. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm trying to act like it's not me. And then one of these loudmouth community people who know me came by and was like, Nana One. I was like, oh, so he's like, oh, it's you. I was like, yeah. So we had a chance to talk, but you know, people see that. This right here, this is a guest house. It's a 17-room guest house that somebody else is building. A local person who, his mother is one of the queen mothers in the town.
I see.
He didn't start building and get interested until now. But he got the money. Oh, Nana One is here. Let me do this. Right? They just saw, imagine this. This is a small town in Ghana. And 2 years ago, you saw Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union get out the car and come to this town. And you saw your chief of development do a naming ceremony for Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. And he's American. And you saw 500 to 700 other people here. You saw it on the news, it was all over the blogs. Now imagine being from this town, small town in Ghana. You never imagined a day in your life that something like that will happen. So what does that mean? Something else is coming. If that's possible in the early stages, what's going to happen when, and I'm not saying that we bring in all these superstars here for that, but from an outside looking in perspective, and somebody from a small village like this, never in your life.
Very true. Very true.
In Ghana, most people never in their life would think that they would show up to an installment and see Dwayne Wade.
You've been bringing big names, you know. You're very well connected.
I got the right friends.
Yeah.
You know they say friendship is essential to the soul.
True.
Right? So I have very good friends. And they call on me, and they trust me. And I do good by them.
And most of them have shown interest in wanting to be a Ghanaian citizen.
Either a Ghanaian citizen, some want to be a Ghanaian citizen, some just want the experience. You know? Some just want the experience, so. Yeah. So, this is where that land ends. And so from here, it goes over that way. So from where we were down there to here, all the way over past those trees, is all there.
And you're right next to another guest house hotel.
And see, so because he has a guest house hotel, I don't need guest house hotel. I can build homes. So if you're living here and you got friends and family that's coming,
they can stay here. I like that.
And I know him. He's one of the youth here. So I could work out deals. I got a summer camp that I'm working on now that'll be annual. He has 17 rooms in a guest house. So when I got these young people and their families to come, I'll be able to support his business as well.
That's very good. And I know a lot of people just want to retire, come to Ghana and live in this kind of places.
Yes.
Between the age of 50 to 60, most people relocating love places
I'm
like
trying
this.
to retire by 55 my damn self.
Really?
So y'all can come over here and retire with me. I'm trying to chill. But also, I'm moving around Africa a bit. So it's like, once you finish a town and this model, and it takes some time, it allows me to transplant this idea to Nigeria. I have several governors of different states in Nigeria who've offered me land for diaspora villages.
Oh, really?
I just came back from their meeting with the president of the Diaspora Nigeria, Nigerians in the Diaspora Coalition. Other, you know, we met with the governor of Lagos State. Like, there are things happening. There's always things happening.
You need to tell us because you always keep you keep it to yourself until it's mature, like, which is great. So that you're always full of surprises.
Yes, and I want to keep raising the level, raising the bar. I saw a post that said, "Don't announce it, just do it."
Just do it.
So I'm gonna take you over here and show you cleared plots that somebody else just bought. Yep.
Okay.
So 1.5
This sand
plots.
just came from here.
Yes. The good thing about building out here is you pull the sand. This sand is really good for concrete. You wouldn't use this sand necessarily for plastering, but for the concrete it's good. So somebody came and bought this next door. The wall behind it, somebody just bought that. The wall behind it, somebody just bought that. They told me it's another big politician, somebody, I think it was an MPP politician. She's building a house right there. I also have
The whole stretch down there.
Yeah, and there's some houses down there in the cut. I have 2.5 plots on this side as well.
Interesting. You have a lot of land here.
Like, I only have about 20 acres.
That's Did you guys just hear that?
I'm
Only
serious.
20 acres.
Only 20
Only
acres.
20 acres. Okay.
I didn't got my 40 acres yet. I ain't got my 40 acres in the mule yet. So I only have 20, but inshallah, God willing, by the end of this year, I can get to 50, close to 100, but it's only 20.
How important is land acquisition in Africa in potential locations like this is?
Very important. The only way you see Africans who built wealth is because they bought land early. Look at the people who own Medina. How much you think they paid for Medina when they bought it?
Close to nothing. I know people who bought land in East Legon for 18,000 CDs.
18,000 Ghana CDs. And now the plot is selling for $250,000. Just the land.
Yeah. And it was bush. Very
And it was bush.
Yeah.
Look at, it didn't take East Legon 20 years to become what it is. What, 10, 15?
15.
And I'm not saying we're trying to be East Legon, but
It gives you an idea.
when I first started buying land in this community, the first piece of land I bought, I think it was $15,000 a plot. Now land is selling for, in this community, between $30,000 and $40,000 a plot.
A plot, no acres.
A plot. Ghana CDs,
Okay, yeah.
not dollars. An acre will cost you about 10 grand, which is not bad. In US dollars, an acre will cost somewhere around $10,000.
And Koforidua is already developed rural area, would you say?
Oh yeah, Koforidua is a city, it's developed.
Yeah.
That's where our main market is. You can always tell, I'm gonna tell you something funny. You can always tell what's the big city by where the KFC is.
You guys have a KFC here.
You see? You see? We have a KFC. Why? Because people like that, they do the market research. They know where the people are.
So
and
they
everybody
work for you. So you just move in when
we
they
have the Koforgia flowers. So everybody comes to Koforgia for the flowers.
I like that. I like
So
that.
all of this here, you see. And then it's still farmland. We don't want to get rid of all the farmland, but if we can build houses, some of this land is about to go for sale too. Like my name is, so I basically gone to every family and said, call me first.
If they want to sell it.
Sometimes I get to them, sometimes I don't. I got a few deals on the table right now. I'll show you the community center. I have the 2 plots directly across the street. Roadside land. I'm looking for.
I remember you were saying the vision for
I'm looking for all roadside land. So if nobody else comes, I want to buy the entire roadside and then everybody can build behind me. Why? Because if I buy the entire roadside, then now that helps me share my vision for what that storefront roadside looks like. That commercial property roadside, you know, when there's a road that goes down and it's just a park. I'm building an art gallery here with a famous art curator from Nigeria who'll be coming here very soon. I'll let you know where she's going to bring her art gallery here.
Interesting.
So all of that, and it's coming to the village. We're not doing it in the city. We're putting it on 2 plots of land with some of these statues, and we're making it an immersive experience where, you know.
I now get it why you are the chief of development.
Yeah. So from here, so like if you go right up here, there's a junction that goes left. So it takes you to a different side of the town. We're not going to go there. From here, we can get in the car and then go to the community center. But we'll stop at the roadside first, and then we'll go to the community center.
Do you still want to get a shot that you talked
What
about?
shot?
You still wanted to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You drink local?
No.
You don't drink at all?
No.
You don't drink anything? Are you Muslim?
No.
You just don't drink?
I like watching people do it. So I'm here in Kofordia.
Nyame Betre.
Nyame Betre. Okay.
Because Kofordia is
A little far out.
yes.
Okay. And I'm here with the chief of development at Nyame Betre, and he showed me around the community. I've learned a lot, you know.
Yes, sir.
I've seen how you interact with the locals, how important it is for diasporans coming to do the same.
Well, I think when we're talking about being immersive, you have to be inside of a community. Simple. Immersion means within, together. So I also don't think it's wrong with having a community. Like I mentioned Sumbry City, I keep doing because I'm really impressed. I've
That's
known
like a
Alvin.
diaspora kind
Right.
of estate, yeah.
I've known Alvin for a long time, and I know he's a good dude. It's okay. So I don't think there's anything wrong with those kinds of communities. But if we're coming to help build Africa beyond aid, we have to do it in these communities where the people are. Because every little, like, we just took that shot. That affects her daily life.
That's a business.
It affects her daily life. So a lot of times I'll come here and I'll just chill and buy beers. I got friends that come. If I come here and spend 500 CDs at the local bar,
That's a lot for her.
yeah, Bob, if I spend 500 CDs at the bar, it's okay.
You can't even
It
get
will
a
help.
table with that. You can't even get a table with that.
No. You ain't getting no table.
How old do you think he is?
He's probably 3
3 years old?
or 4. I go. Yo.
Ejuma.
Good afternoon. Yo, Boko. Apome. What's always
It's an airway language.
So they
Where's always
actually
airway?
preparing,
You are welcome.
palm oil. Is it palm oil?
You are airway.
Palm oil, if you guys
Until
know.
we are there.
Oh, so what's the response for Wezo?
Where's you say you? Where's all that you say you?
I say yo.
Yeah.
Yo. Okay. So all of this palm comes from most is Yami Betre.
Yes.
And they are making
Oil.
palm oil.
Palm oil.
So this is one of the local agricultural products, is palm oil. And this is what this family does every day.
And they are also farmers?
Yes. Translate for me. I'm saying they do this every day.
This time, also we got the Diallo. Yeah, you see every day.
Every day. Every day I come here and I come by, every day I come by, they are making palm oil.
Okay. Now I'm going to turn away. Apopum. Oh, okay. Okay. That's incredible.
And we have some palm here too. What, you got to translate for me because I don't know what y'all just said either.
They go to the next village and then they sell it and they come back and remake it every day.
Yes. Where do they sell it? Tinkong? Adoso. You sell at Adoso?
Maybe I motor.
Adoso. So Adoso. So what I was telling you is Yame Betre is equidistant between Adoso and Koforgia. Yame Betre is here, Adoso is here, Koforgia is here. We are literally almost exactly in the middle because I walked it. I walked both to measure it.
So it's actually walking distance. I mean, you want to do an exercise.
Yes.
It makes sense.
It's about 4.5 miles each way. It's about 4.5 miles each way. But, for example, for palm oil, you can come here, they make it fresh. They make it fresh.
Do you want her to teach you how to do it?
No. to pluck it or to...
PSU and then...
Yes.
They use this one too for another oil.
It's for a different oil.
There's a when they
This is inside of the palm nut.
Yeah.
This nut is for another oil. What oil is this?
Candid oil.
Yeah.
Candid oil.
Candle and oil. And what is this oil used for?
This also for another oil.
But what is the oil used for?
Food and everything.
Huh?
Food, cream.
Oh, to eat?
Yeah.
Okay,
You can use
okay.
it for cream, everything.
For cooking?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
This oil is strong than how they call it, oil, the vegetable oil.
Vegetable oil.
Sunflower
oil. It's stronger.
Yeah, way better.
And it's better for you. Oh, okay.
One step enough.
Uh-huh.
One step enough. My other. When I'm Shiram. Oh, they're Americans, so they.
No American.
Say, I say, bro. You are here English. Education is the key.
Yes.
So speak English to them.
Well, we have one for liberty. Education is the key. Okay, ma'am, I will be our one and for a man for one. Who could do, baby? You have to be bold. Nothing this one man cannot do. You have to miss.
Yo.
You have to be bold.
Thank you,
Do you
sir.
hear me?
Yes. Be bold.
You have to be bold.
Thank you.
I like that. I like his message. It's incredible, beautiful here. This neighborhood is rural, but up and coming. And for me, it's very interesting to me because
We did,
I'm African American
he's talking.
coming from this, you know, almost like elite society, developed infrastructure-wise, and having to come live in the village and find the
What'd they
peace
say?
that he said he has.
They are proud of you.
I think it's
That
incredible,
old lady
and
still bless you.
I hope that inspires people watching.
Do
Are
you
the
wanna
kids
go
from the
upstairs?
community?
No, so my boy is an artist. Yes, he took pictures of kids from this community.
Okay,
Those and those.
that's good. So, 2 years ago, May exactly, I was here. We did an amazing interview. We reviewed the community.
We hadn't gotten this far 2 years
No,
ago.
the roof was not there, and now it's there. Talk to me. How many percent would you say it's?
We're about 80 to 90% completion.
Okay.
So we went through a thing where we had a roof, it was done wrong. So I wasted like some money. So I had to take that roof done down. It was a wooden roof. I had a bad contractor. And then I had to redo a cement roof. So now I had to, so that's money. Because when you pour that slab of cement, it's money. So it kind of slowed me up a little bit. But now, our first floor is pretty much done. The bathrooms and all that are in. We just got to do some tiling and run the wires for lights. The top floor, the roof is done, as you can see. So now they're just doing some plastering and some other stuff. So by the end of March 2025, inshallah,
That's it.
We'll
So
be
when
open.
it's done, what should people expect?
well, what you can expect is, number one, this is our model for a community center that can be sustained by the community. So our model is build up and trickle down. You build a building, an infrastructure, an institution that houses both businesses and a community institution. So the ground floor is the library. The first floor of the building is our community meeting space where we can use to meet for the community, but we can also rent it out. So birthday parties, weddings, funerals, because it's gonna be nice, state of the art, really good tile, really good sound system. We have a small kitchenette for you to serve. We have, you know, a lot of outlets and stuff for you to plug in. So any kind of event you wanted to do, a meeting class, if you wanted to host a computer training class, if the government wanted, like, it's set up for anything. So we can rent that space out. And then the rooftop is also a space that can be rented, but all y'all football fans out there in Ghana, in the Eastern region, at the top, Football Central is coming your way. In the evenings, Football Central. TVs, every football match that you can think about, all sports, all day in the evenings at the rooftop, which is open. We also got a small kitchenette there that will allow us to serve some small food and stuff like that. So those businesses support the library and all of the community that we're going to work because the building is paid for. And most of it came from our pocket, but we do have a number of what we call our patron donors who paid $10,000 or more. I have 3 different people who've done that, over 10,000, to support that. And then we have other small donors who help. We have a GoFundMe right now that's open for people to support. I'll send you the link for you to share with your people. And here we are.
I like that. Thank you so much. You've been working.
Yes, bro. That's all we do. You know we like to work.
Yeah, that's good. Send a final message to the people.
Thank you, everybody. From 901 to you and Yame Betchere with love. Peace.
And it's raining, so you know it's a blessing. All right, peace.